Chapter 875. Problem with the myriad ant hive nest. No, something is wrong. Contrary to the looks of delight on the faces of the crowd, Zhong Xian had a deep frown etched on his forehead. What had awakened the spirit wasn't the earth vein spirit essence but his heaven's path Shunqi. The heaven's path Shunqi was so rich in vitality that it could even easily neutralize lethal poison, so naturally, it had the ability to rouse the unconscious spirit within the body saint tree as well. However, what had left a deep frown on his face was the realization that the spirit of the body saint tree had been unconscious not just because it was injured but because it was poison. The heaven's path Shunqi was incredibly pure, allowing it to travel through the tree unobstructed. As such, he was able to catch a clear glimpse of the state of the body saint tree's unconscious spirit. The spirit was indeed injured, but it wasn't severe enough to drive it into an unconscious state. What had truly sapped the spirit was a fight against a lethal poison that was ongoing even now. And most importantly of all, he actually recognized that lethal poison. It's the soul-purging poison. A peculiar glint flashed across Zhong Xian's eyes. Speaking of the soul-purging poison, most, including the school heads of the Master Teacher Academy, might be unfamiliar with the name. However, if one were to define it as the lethal poison concocted using the green-leafed heart nexus plant and the soulless flower, most should understand what it was in an instant. It was the lethal poison Yu Shu had given him during the life-and-death physician duel. This poison, once consumed, would immediately corrode one's heart and mind, resulting in a swift death. Not even Saint Realm experts would be spared from this tragic outcome. Even though the body saint tree was a saint herb rich in vitality, it was still difficult for it to stand its ground against the potent soul-purging poison. The only reason it was able to survive so long was because Elder Zhao and the others, even though their direction was wrong from the very start, had fed it many nourishing substances, granting it the strength to withstand the onslaught of the poison. Yu Shu came here 2 years ago, and shortly afterward, the body saint tree fell ill. Could Yu Shu have really been the culprit? Zhong Xian frowned. The soul-purging poison was extremely hard to concoct, not to mention, the green-leafed heart nexus plant and the soulless flower had gone extinct centuries ago. On top of that, Yu Shu had an opportunity to strike as well. Following this line of deduction, all of the current evidence seemed to point toward Yu Shu. But, if Yu Shenqing was willing to allow Yu Shu to get close to the body saint tree to procure its seedling, that could mean that there was no conflict between them. So, what could Yu Shu stand to gain from poisoning the body saint tree? Zhong Xian contemplated over the issue a moment longer, but he was still unable to connect the dots. Shaking his head, he decided to turn his attention away from the matter. Forget it, this should be a matter for Yu Shenqing to worry about. The only reason he had treated the body saint tree was to borrow it to save Wei Ruyan. As for uncovering the culprit who had poisoned it, that was a job for the others to do. After emptying out the earth vein spirit essence in the gourd and pumping a few dozen more surges of Zhenqi in, the weak body saint tree began to regain its vitality, and signs of its former glory started to appear. Exhaling deeply, Zhong Xian said, "All right, I'm done." "Thank you, Zhong Shi." The agitated Yu Shenqing immediately rushed forward and clasped his fist in gratitude. The body saint tree was the foundation of their Yu clan. Once it was gone, the Yu clan would start falling into decline, eventually disappearing in the annals of history. Yu Shenqing had thought that it was hopeless, and he had already prepared himself for the worst. He really hadn't expected the young man before him to be able to easily identify the cause and resolve the problem within less than half a day. Zhongsha. The faces of Elder Zhao and the others reddened in embarrassment, and if they could, they would have loved to vanish on the spot. They had doubted the other party, accusing him of only being there for the fame. Yet, they, the knowledgeable ones, had spent 2 years achieving nothing, but he, the ignorant one, had solved the problem surrounding the body saint tree in just a few hours. Just recalling the matter was sufficient to fill them with embarrassment. An elder stepped forward and said, "Zhongsha, if you are free, do come over and conduct a lecture for us. Our Sun Clan is willing to compensate you with 100 spirit pinnacle medicinal herbs in return." It was a problem that they couldn't figure out despite coming together, but the other party was able to find a solution for it with a single glance. His mastery in herbology was far beyond their imagination. If they could invite him to their clan to lecture them, the proficiency of their clan members would surely rise rapidly, and it would just be a matter of time before they surpassed the other herbology clans. Another elder stepped forward and offered, "Zhongshe, come to our Chen clan. We are willing to offer you 150 spirit pinnacle medicinal herbs and 5 saint herb." Knowing that Zhongshe could possibly herald in an era of prosperity for their clan, the other elders in the room could no longer hold themselves back either. "Zhongshe, come to our Zhao clan instead. Our Liu clan. Thank you for your high evaluation for me, but I don't have the intention of conducting any lectures for the time being." Seeing the previously haughty elders standing before him politely as if young junior school students before a teacher, Zhongxian was rendered speechless. In truth, the offers the elders had made were extremely tempting, but the problem was that he had no idea how to lecture them on herbology. The reason he was able to cure the body saint tree was due to his eye of insight and library of Heaven's Path. It had very little to do with his knowledge concerning herbology. If he were to really conduct lectures for them, it wouldn't be long before they started pestering him for refunds. Seeing that Zhongxian was unwilling to conduct any lectures, Elder Zhao and the others could only back down in disappointment. Zhongxian turned to the crowd and said, "Your Majesty and elders, I need to borrow the body saint tree to resolve some private affairs, so." Understanding the meaning behind Zhongxian's words, Yu Shenqing turned to the crowd and smiled. "You have all worked hard to treat the body saint tree over the last 2 years. I will have the royal chefs prepare a feast this instant, so please follow me to the main hall." "Your Majesty, thank you. We haven't really done anything much." The other elders nodded as they followed Yu Shenqing out. Soon, Zhongxian was the only one left in the residence. He flew to the air to take a look at the surroundings and saw that Yu Shenqing had deployed the guards in the area away as well, strictly prohibiting anyone from coming close to the residence. Heaving a sigh of relief, Zhongxian took out the sickly Wei Ruyan from the myriad ant-hive nest. In recent days, he had been bringing her around in case her condition abruptly worsened and emergency treatment was required. With a healthy body saint tree before him now, it was time to treat her affliction once and for all. Zhongxian first drew his soul out of his body before summoning Wei Ruyan's soul out as well, and using a secret art, he infused the latter's soul into the body saint tree. He had taken a close look earlier, and the body saint tree was indeed extremely effective in nurturing souls. Zhongxian followed Wei Ruyan's soul into the body saint tree to assess her condition, and he could sense the latter's feeble soul being nurtured, growing stronger by the moment. She is recovering faster than I thought." Zhongxian fell in a moment of thought before the answer struck him. "It is the soul purge poison." To think that the 2 years of pain the body saint tree suffered under the tyranny of the soul purge poison would become an opportunity for Wei Ruyan instead. Despite the massive size and greater medicinal potency of the body saint tree, it was just a matter of time before Wei Ruyan's poison soul constitution poisoned it and rendered its effects negligible, just like with the 10-leafed flower. However, after 2 years of fending against the soul purge poison, this body saint tree had already gained a fair degree of immunity to poison. On top of that, the poison soul constitution had the ability to consume lethal poison, and the lingering soul purge poison left in the tree was greatly nourishing to her. In other words, not only would Wei Ruyan's soul not poison the body saint tree in the short term, it would even help to devour the remaining poison left within it. At the same time, Wei Ruyan's soul would recover faster as well. At this rate, it will only take a day for her to regain consciousness. Zhongxian's eyes lit up. It seemed like it was the correct decision for him to choose to save the body saint tree. Even though he had used up a fair bit of precious earth vein spirit essence in the midst of doing so, it would be well worth the cost if he could successfully cure Wei Changfeng's daughter of her affliction with this. Heaving a sigh of relief, Zhongxian returned his soul to his body, and he stowed Wei Ruyan's body back into the myriad ant-hive nest as well. Shortly after he did so, a voice suddenly sounded in his mind. "Master, I need you to come in here urgently." Hearing that voice, Zhongxian frowned. It was the myriad ant-hive queen. "Is there any way to solve the problem?" Zhongxian asked. "There is, but it will be rather troublesome." The myriad ant-hive queen shook her head. "Speak." Hearing that there was a solution, Zhongxian heaved a sigh of relief. "The problem can be solved by raising my cultivation swiftly." As long as I reach Saint Realm, I should be able to retain perfect control of the space and even hasten the assimilation process at that, the myriad ant hive nest said. Raising your cultivation? That's easy, I can easily do that. However, to reach Saint Realm, Zhong Xian frowned. Forget it, I will do what I can first. If raising the myriad ant hive queen's cultivation was all it took, it wasn't really a huge issue. With Zhong Xian's Heaven's Path Zhenqi, he could cleanse the bloodline of a spirit beast and raise its cultivation. Catcher. Under the nourishment of Zhong Xian's Zhenqi, the myriad ant hive nest's body jolted, and its cultivation began rising steadily. 6 hours later, under the nourishment of the Heaven's Path Zhenqi and Earth Vein Spirit Essence, the myriad ant hive queen's cultivation reached Chrysalis Realm primary stage, just like Zhong Xian's. Due to the limits of Zhong Xian's cultivation, he could only raise its cultivation this far. Even though Perfect Harmonization Realm Pinnacle to Chrysalis Realm primary stage was a rise in cultivation by slightly more than a realm, the myriad ant hive queen was still a significant way off from reaching Saint Realm. After reinforcing its cultivation, the myriad ant hive queen contemplated for a moment before speaking. Master, I heard that the Beast Hall has a bottle of the blood essence of a Saint Realm myriad ant hive queen in its inventory. If I can obtain it, I should be able to raise my cultivation to Saint Realm swiftly. Chapter 876, Master Teacher, Beast Hall? Zhong Xian was taken aback. UN. The Beast Hall keeps an inventory of the blood essence of many saint beasts, and as long as beast tamers have reached a certain rank and are able to afford the price, they are able to trade for these blood essences, the myriad ant hive queen said. I see. I will take the 6-star beast tamer examination now and trade for some then. Knowing that the blood essence of a Saint Realm myriad ant hive queen had such an effect, Zhong Xian swiftly left the nest. He took another look at Wei Ruyan to check on her condition once more, and after confirming that she was recovering rapidly and that the body saint tree showed no signs of being poisoned, he heaved a sigh of relief and left the royal palace. His next destination was the Master Teacher Academy. To take the Beast Tamer examination and trade for the blood essence, it would be more convenient to do it via School Head Mo. Besides, he wasn't too sure where Hongyuan Empire's Beast Hall was located. Entering the Beast Tamer School, he quickly found School Head Mo sitting with a deep frown in his office, seemingly troubled by something. Principal Zhong. Upon noticing Zhong Xian's presence, School Head Mo quickly got up and clasped his fist politely. There's no need to stand on ceremony. The reason I came over here today is to take the 6-star Beast Tamer examination. Zhong Xian immediately revealed the reason behind his arrival. 6-star Beast Tamer examination? School Head Mo was visibly stunned for a moment before he shook his head. Principal Zhong, you are pulling my leg. Since you were able to tame even senior Byzantium Alios, you are qualified to be a 7-star Beast Tamer. I have already helped you apply for it from the headquarters, and I have received a positive reply as well. I am just waiting for the emblem to arrive now. The Byzantium Alios beast was already at St. Tudan Spiritual Perception Realm, and under the classification of the Beast Tamer Hall, one who could tame a saint beast of such power was qualified as a 7-star Beast Tamer. Thus, there was no need for him to go through the effort of taking the examination 7-star Beast Tamer. Zhong Xian was surprised. He had been intending to take the 6-star examination, only to learn that School Head Mo had already applied for a 7-star emblem on his behalf. This worked fine with him, too. He would be spared from quite a bit of trouble with this. I will be thanking you in advance then. Since the headquarters have already agreed to it, it just so happens that there is something I need to request from them. I would like to trade for some Saint Realm Myriad Ant Hive Queen's blood essence. Zhong Xian said. Saint Realm Myriad Ant Hive Queen's blood essence? School Head Mo frowned. Zhong Xian nodded. School Head Mo replied, after a moment of hesitation, usually, the headquarters will approve the trade for most Saint Beast's blood essence, and the price won't be too high as well. But the Myriad Ant Hive Queen's blood essence? I fear that it won't be that easy to make the trade. Won't be easy to make the trade? Zhong Xian asked doubtfully. Since they were all from Saint Beasts, the difficulty in procuring their blood essence shouldn't be too different from one another. Why would the Myriad Ant Hive Queen be an exception? Noticing Zhong Xian's doubts, School Head Mo explained, In the very first place, the myriad anthive queen is an extremely rare beast, and on top of that, only a small proportion of them manage to achieve a breakthrough to Saint Rel. More importantly, the myriad anthive queen possesses the ability to create space, making it an extremely valuable beast. Even if the headquarters do have its blood essence, I fear that the price to obtain it will be exorbitant. Exorbitant? Roughly how much will it cost? Even taking into account your identity as a 7-star beast tamer, it will still cost around several thousand high-tier spirit stones, or even more, School Head Mo said as he shook his head bitterly. The price to purchase the blood essence of a Saint Realm myriad anthive queen was simply too great for them to bear. Several thousand high-tier spirit stones? Zhong Xian's lips twitched. He had thought that he could finally be considered wealthy after receiving several hundred high-tier spirit stones from Wu Shu and Lu Cheng, but to think that it wouldn't even be sufficient to buy a single item. Furthermore, this was due to the fact that he was a 7-star beast tamer. If it was an outsider instead, the price could very well be hiked up by twofold. The occupation guilds like the Beast Tamer Hall would often grant special privileges such as discounts or priority in services to its own members, depending on their rank. It seemed like what he had wasn't much after all. At this point, School Head Mo suddenly spoke up. Actually, there is a way to obtain it even if one can't afford the price, but it will be much harder. Oh! Seeing that there was a way to work around it, Zhong Xian quickly turned his gaze to the other party. As long as your contribution to the Beast Tamer Hall is high enough, the headquarters could give it to you for free, School Head Mo said. Contribution? Zhong Xian frowned at the unfamiliar term. That's right. Donating the blood essence of rare spirit beasts or saint beasts, or accomplishing the missions set by the Beast Hall, all of these will be noted by the Beast Hall as contributions from the individual members, School Head Mo explained. Donating the blood essence of rare spirit beasts or saint beasts? Zhong Xian shook his head. It had been innumerable years since the Beast Hall was established, and it possessed influence all around the Master-Teacher continent. There were only a handful spirit beasts and saint beasts that it couldn't get to, so very few of them could be considered rare. Even if Zhong Xian knew where he could find one, he wouldn't have the time to look for it. The first way is indeed rather difficult. Most only accomplish it with a stroke of luck. As for the second, the Beast Hall rarely set missions, and even when they do, it wouldn't reach here. School Head Mo said with a bitter smile. Contribution to a guild wasn't that easily earned. Otherwise, its treasury would have been depleted long ago. School Head Mo, we aren't able to hold on any longer. We need assistance. In that moment, flurried footsteps sounded, and an elder abruptly barged into the room. Upon seeing Zhong Xian, the elder clasped his fist and greeted, Principal Zhong. It was the head of the blacksmith school, Zhao Bingshu. School head Zhao, what do you mean by being unable to hold on any longer? Zhong Xian asked in bewilderment. At this point, he couldn't help but recall the deep frown he had seen on School Head Mo's face when he first entered. He had thought that it might have been some personal problem, but after hearing Zhao Bingshu's words, things probably weren't as simple as they seemed. It's actually nothing much. Principal Zhong, we are just a day away from your inauguration ceremony, so you should focus on preparing for it for the time being. You don't have to worry about anything else, Zhao Bingshu quickly replied with a smile. Indeed. Principal Zhong, leave the other matters to us, School Head Mo quickly added in agreement. Noticing that something was amiss, Zhong Xian frowned. Tell me, what is it? The two elders before him were the heads of the Beast Tamer School and Blacksmith School, as well as Saint Wand and Pinnacle experts. For such powerful figures to have troubled looks on their faces, something major must have happened. While Zhong Xian might not have paid much heed to the matters concerning the Master-Teacher Academy, he was still ultimately the principal, and he had to bear the responsibilities that came with that role. Hearing Zhong Xian ask about the matter, the two school heads glance at one another hesitantly, unsure of what they should do. But seeing the determination in Zhong Xian's eyes, School Head Mo knew that they wouldn't be able to hide it from him any further, so he sighed deeply and said, the beasts of the Cloud Mist Ridge have launched a beast stampede against us. Cloud Mist Ridge? Beast stampede? Zhong Xian was taken aback. The beasts of the Cloud Mist Ridge have always lived isolated from our Hongyuan Empire, never interfering with the business of the other. However, just a few days ago, they suddenly went on a rampage, hunting down all of the hunters and cultivators roaming the mountains, school head Mo said. Our Master Teacher Academy received a request for assistance, so we sent our men in to warn them against their actions. But instead of backing down, they assaulted our master teachers and even sent their full forces forward, initiating a beast stampede against Hongyuan City. Left with no choice, I sent in all of the students of the Beast Tamer School to fend off their forces at Hongyuan Mountain Range. It has been a day since the battle began, and our line of defense is starting to crumble. Crumble. Zhong Xian's face darkened, and he clenched his fists tightly. Take me there, I want to take a look. The reason the beasts of Cloud Mist Ridge went on a rampage was probably related to him taking away their earth vein spirit essence. Even though the beasts of Cloud Mist Ridge had lived separately from Hongyuan Empire, there had always been some tension between them. Nevertheless, an uneasy peace was established between the two due to the deterrence of the Master Teacher Academy. Part of the reason Zhong Xian didn't hesitate to take away the earth vein spirit essence despite knowing how much the beasts of Cloud Mist Ridge valued it was because he knew that if the other party continued to accrue more power, this could spell disaster for Hongyuan Empire in the long run. Even so, he hadn't expected the other party to actually charge out and go head-to-head with the Master Teacher Academy. Since this matter had started due to him, he couldn't back out at this point. Principal Zhong, you can't go. You haven't undergone the inauguration ceremony yet, and your cultivation is still too low. If the others learn of your identity, they will target you. Zhao Bingshu shook his head firmly. It was not without reason that they had chosen not to inform the principal of a matter as major as the students being dispatched to battle. At the current moment, Zhong Xian was simply too weak. If the others were to learn that he was the principal, the beasts of Cloud Mist Ridge would surely focus their forces on him. Should the principal be captured by the enemy at such a crucial period, it would be a devastating blow to the morale of their forces, bringing forth panic and chaos. Furthermore, they earnestly believed that with Zhong Xian's capability, the Hongyuan Master Teacher Academy could be brought to greater heights. At least, until the latter's capabilities matured, they, as elders, must not let any harm come to him. Thus, they had chosen to take matters into their own hands instead. Take me there, or else I will just have to head there myself. Zhong Xian's eyebrows shot up. The lives of innumerable students were at stake. He couldn't possibly sit idly at such a crucial moment. Seeing the determination in Zhong Xian's eyes, the two school heads glanced at one another and sighed. All right, we will take you over there. However, I hope that you won't be hasty, and by no means should you reveal your identity to anyone. This isn't the first beast stampede from Cloud Mist Ridge, so we will surely find a way to suppress it in the end. Zhong Xian nodded. School head Mo summoned his Inferno Dragon Saint Beast over, and the three of them swiftly got on and flew for Hongyuan Mountain Range. Standing on the back of the Inferno Dragon Saint Beast, Zhong Xian asked Zhao Bingshu, "What is the current situation?" "It isn't looking too optimistic. The beast stampede is much more severe than the previous cases. In the first place, most spirit beasts possess the strength to rival cultivators stronger than themselves. To make things worse, the spirit beasts are coordinating with one another like disciplined soldiers, and this places our students in a very dangerous position," Zhao Bingshu said hesitantly. "Coordinating with one another like disciplined soldiers?" Zhao Bingshu nodded. If I am not mistaken, the Saint Beasts of Cloud Mist Ridge have probably gotten involved as well. Only under their leadership can the spirit beasts display such battle prowess collectively. How are the casualties? Zhong Xian asked. It is rather severe. As the fourth largest school in the Master Teacher Academy, there are over 20,000 students who chose Beast Tamer as their main supporting occupation. Other than those who are currently out on missions, all of them have participated in the battle. More than half of them are wounded, but the death toll is still relatively low at around a dozen, Zhao Bingshu replied grimly. There are already around a dozen dead. Zhong Xian's body stiffened. That's right. The one who replied this time around wasn't Zhao Bingshu but school head Mo. While they were speaking, the Inferno Dragon Saint Beast had already arrived at the airspace above Hongyuan Mountain Range. Looking down, Zhongxian could see countless spirit beasts charging down from the mountaintop, and innumerable students rushed forth to meet them. The battle was extremely intense. There were many severely wounded students among the group, but they stood firmly on their ground, not backing out at all. Instead, they seemed to grow more and more courageous by the moment, braving through the hordes of spirit beasts fearlessly. Zhongxian's body couldn't help but tremble. He saw two familiar faces. They were Feng Wu and Yu Cheng, whom he had a conflict with during the entrance examination on Leiyuan Peak. At this moment, their bodies were completely drenched in blood, and Yu Cheng even had an arm of his snapped off. Yet, they still continued to charge toward the enemies fearlessly with reddened eyes. This posed a stark contrast to the selfish behavior they had displayed while competing with him back then. Whether they were once friend or foe, at this very moment, everyone was fighting side by side, trusting their allies with their back. Taking a glance at Zhongxian's astonished face, school head Mo said proudly, "Many of them have grudges with one another, and from time to time, they fought and sometimes even resorted to despicable means against one another, but, in the face of trouble, they will still unite together as one and fight alongside one another fearlessly, even if death is what they will ultimately face. This is because this is their mission and responsibility. This is because they bear a common identity." Master Teacher. Chapter 877, Heart of a Teacher. Master Teacher? Zhongxian's body stiffened. It had been half a year since his transcension, and he had encountered many different master teachers in his time. Be it a normal 1-star master teacher or a powerful 6-star pinnacle master teacher, be it joy, anger, sorrow, or pleasure, all of them possessed emotions like an ordinary human being, and they had their own desires and goals that they pursued as well. Despite being a master teacher himself, he had never felt how heavy the occupation was. However, upon seeing this sight, he finally understood what being a master teacher meant to these men. For mankind, they were willing to put aside their differences and lay down their lives when the time came. All because they were master teachers. They were only two mere words, but they carried heavy significance behind them, the hope of mankind. That's right. Zhao Bingshu nodded. Being a master teacher is more than about glory, it is a responsibility. Take Lu Feng for example, he has already applied to head for the subterranean gallery. Even if he might meet his end there, he is still determined to protect his dignity as a master teacher. Subterranean gallery? Zhongxian's body trembled. He had read about it in the books, so he knew very well what kind of place it was. The subterranean gallery was the passageway connecting the master-teacher continent to the world of the otherworldly demonic tribe, as well as a dangerous battlefield where one could easily lose one's life in a moment of carelessness. Lu Feng had volunteered to head to the subterranean gallery. Even if Lu Feng was stripped of his master-teacher license, he could still live lavishly with his prowess as a half-spiritual perception realm expert. Yet, he had chosen to veer down this difficult path to guard his honor instead. The reason school head Lu spoke on Yu Shu's behalf was due to their close ties. Such emotions are ingrained in all humans, and it has never been the master-teacher pavilion's aim to destroy human nature. In fact, Kongsha even encouraged the development of each person's unique character instead, saying that it was the true way to further the prosperity of mankind. If other master teachers lose their individuality and act as if they were cast from the same mold, that would turn into a disaster for mankind instead. School head Mo said. This. Words couldn't express Zhongxian's current emotions. There are no humans who aren't born with emotions, and they served as the key to drive us further, allowing us to exceed our limits. If one were to destroy the human character in pursuit of perfection, even without the intervention of the otherworldly demonic tribe, we would have already limited and destroyed ourselves. Perhaps, this was the reason the Master Teacher Academy condoned conflicts among the students, allowing them to sort things out among themselves. Master teachers can be selfish. They may choose to side with their kin and friends against justice, and they may come to blows over a treasure as well, but, in dire times like this, they have to put aside their differences and charge forward bravely. This is the responsibility of all master teachers, as well as the vision Kongsha had in mind when he established the Master Teacher Pavilion. School head Mo continued. So, this is a master teacher, Zhongxian muttered as he closed his eyes. He had met many master teachers on his journey. There were those who were kind and upright, but there were also those who were greedy and selfish. He had thought that master teachers were no different from anyone else, but his thoughts had been wrong all along. Master teachers could be selfish, greedy, and even narrow-minded. But when the survival of mankind was at stake, they would be the first to step forward and shoulder the burden. This is what a master teacher has to do and must do. In that instant, Zhongxian felt as if his soul had been cleansed and initiated. He was a transcender, and in the world he had come from, many of the fine cultural traditions had already eroded. Students no longer respected their teacher, and teachers no longer felt pride in their occupation. Some of them even committed unforgivable acts that a teacher should never commit. After coming to this world, Zhongxian had gotten a glimpse of the nobility of the occupation. But nevertheless, his subconscious mind still retained the view he had from his previous life. It was only in this instant that he realized the responsibilities he shouldered from the moment he had chosen to bear this identity. Catcher. A crisp crack sounded from Zhongxian's chest, and as if a caterpillar breaking out of its cocoon, a unique and solemn power fell from the sky and onto him. At that moment, it felt as if he was a divine being descending from the heavens. Could this be? Noticing the changes surrounding Zhongxian, Zhao Bingshu and school head Mo traded glances, and their eyes abruptly narrowed. With a quivering voice, they uttered simultaneously, "Heart of a teacher." Heart of a teacher, just like the eye of insight, was a unique ability that only master teachers could comprehend. Only those who persisted in their path as a true teacher would be able to comprehend this ability and reach greater heights. Legend had it that only 8-star master teachers could comprehend this ability, but to think that Zhongshe would comprehend it despite only being a 4-star master teacher. A person with the heart of a teacher was no longer confined by the boundaries of race. His impartation of heaven's will would be effective on even savage beasts and spirit beasts, allowing him to turn them into his students, achieving, in the truest sense, enlightenment devoid of discrimination. Back then, Kongshe had comprehended the heart of a teacher as well, as his students didn't just consist of humans but beasts and even otherworldly demons as well. In a sense, a person who had comprehended the heart of a teacher could be considered to be nearly on par with a celestial master teacher. Principal Zhong actually managed to comprehend the heart of a teacher. It seems like the rise of our Hongyuan Master Teacher Academy is just on the horizon, school head Mo said as his body trembled in agitation. Even in the entire history of the Master Teacher Pavilion, only a handful had managed to comprehend the heart of a teacher. Yet, their principal had actually succeeded in comprehend it. Just based on this in itself, he would surely accomplish great things in the future. Hongyuan Master Teacher Academy would also make its mark on the world, becoming a sacred land where all master teachers desired to head to. School head Mo swiftly set up a barrier around him with a wave of his hand to conceal what was happening within before turning to Zhao Bingshu. School head Zhao, the matter concerning Principal Zhong comprehending the heart of a teacher has great implications. If he were to be targeted by the otherworldly demonic tribe due to this matter, we would become sinners of mankind. It would only be a matter of time for a master teacher who had comprehended the heart of a teacher to advance through the ranks, becoming one of the powerhouses of the Master Teacher Pavilion. Thus, if the otherworldly demonic tribe were to learn of such an existence, they would surely hunt that person down with their full force. For Principal Zhong's safety, they must keep this matter a secret. Don't worry. I swear on my identity as a master teacher that I will not tell a single soul about this matter, Zhao Bingshu vowed. I also swear to do the same on my identity as a master teacher. School head Mo nodded. While they were talking, the unique power finally vanished, and Zhongxian slowly opened his eyes. Unlike before, there is a resolute glint in his gaze. As one who had comprehended heart of a teacher, the confusion that had plagued him before had disappeared, and he understood what he should and shouldn't do. Taking a deep breath, Zhongxian said calmly, School head Mo, propose a ceasefire with the beasts of Cloud Mist Ridge. Tell them that the succeeding principal of the Master Teacher Academy wishes to negotiate with them. Negotiate? The two school heads were taken aback for an instant before school head Mo hurriedly exclaimed in astonishment, You can't do that. The reason we refused to tell you about this matter before is because we feared that you would do this. None of us can bear the consequences if something happens to you. Indeed. It isn't easy for a principal who has the approval of Mu Shi and the entirety of the 10 great master teachers to appear. You are the one who will unite the Master Teacher Academy and bring it to greater heights. We can't afford to lose you. Zhao Bingshu added. Zhong Xian shook his head. Won't my identity be revealed tomorrow in the inauguration ceremony anyway? Since his identity was going to be revealed the following day, what harm would it do if others were to learn of his identity a day before? That isn't the same. After the inauguration ceremony, you will be qualified to wield the principal's seal, and it will help to ensure your safety. No matter what you say, I won't allow you to reveal your identity now. School head Mo exclaimed. Principal's seal? Zhong Xian frowned. That's right. Infused in the principal's seal is the will of the students and teachers of the Master Teacher Academy. Even if the otherworldly demonic tribe attempts to harm you, they will be kept at bay by the power of the principal's seal. Only with that can your safety be guaranteed. School head Mo explained. If that's the case, did the missing old principal possess the principal's seal? Of course. Then how did he go missing? Zhong Xian asked. This. School head Mo was unable to answer that question. Gesturing at the many master teachers charging forth bravely below, Zhong Xian said, danger is always existent. Since even the students below aren't afraid, what do I have to fear? He was a master teacher just like the rest of them. Since they could face death without fear, what did he have to hesitate over? After a moment of hesitation, school head Mo eventually relented. Fine, I will do as you have said. However, I will be proposing a negotiation in the name of school head Zhao and myself instead. I hope that you can understand our concerns. Even if Zhongshi didn't fear death, they couldn't allow the Master Teacher Academy to lose its principal once more. Yuan, knowing that this was the bottom line of the other party, Zhong Xian agreed to it. Retracting the barrier from the surroundings, school head Mo leaped off the back of the Inferno Dragon Saint Beast and stopped in midair. Taking a deep breath, he roared, the kings of Cloud Mist Ridge. I, Mo Zhu, propose a negotiation with you as the representative of the Master Teacher Academy. Hong Long. As if a massive wave, his voice swept across the entire mountain range, reaching the ears of each and every being in the area. Negotiate. Why should we negotiate? These beasts have trampled on the dignity of mankind. We can't let them go so easily. Indeed. How can we face the many master teachers who have been wounded or even killed in this conflict if we negotiate with them? Upon hearing that school head Mo was proposing a negotiation, a huge uproar immediately broke out amid the master teachers below. Proposing a negotiation was a sign of weakness. If the Master Teacher Academy, facing the onslaught of the beasts, were to choose to negotiate instead of returning the favor back to them, what would become of their dignity? A powerful voice boomed from the back of the spirit beast stampede. You want to negotiate? Fine by us. Come to the Cloud Mist Ridge, we will give you a chance to negotiate all you want. It was likely that the one speaking was one of the most powerful existences among the saint beasts of the Cloud Mist Ridge, their king. They want to hold the negotiations on the Cloud Mist Ridge? School head Mo, you mustn't agree to their demand. That has got to be a trap. If even our school head is captured by them, we will never be able to raise our heads before others anymore. The master teachers panicked. It was clear that the other party was up to no good. The Cloud Mist Ridge was their den, and if school head Mo were to head over, he would be encircled by countless half-saint, nascent saint, and saint realm beasts. Should negotiations break down, he wouldn't even have the chance to escape. Moreover, as the side proposing the negotiation, they were already in a disadvantageous position. If they were to negotiate on the other party's territory on top of that, wouldn't they simply be exploited? The Master Teacher Academy served as a pillar of support for mankind, so how could it bow its head to others like that? If word were to spread, wouldn't it create a huge uproar among the population? Principal Zhong. While a huge commotion was going on beneath them, school head Mo turned his gaze to Zhong Xian hesitantly. He also felt that it was too dangerous to negotiate in their territory as well. Accept it. Zhong Xian said calmly. Zhao Bingshu hurriedly clasped his fist. Principal Zhong, it's too dangerous. We can think of some other solutions. There is no need for that. If we don't enter their den, How can we meet their kings? Zhong Xian waved his hands resolutely, signifying that this matter wasn't open for discussion. This. School head Mo and school head Zhao traded gazes and sighed. That was indeed the case. The saint beasts treasured their lives dearly, or else, they wouldn't have had the spirit beasts charge at the front lines in their stead either. If they were to turn down the negotiation, they wouldn't have any other opportunity to meet the other party's kings. Fine, we agree, school head Mo bellowed back. Knowing that Zhong Xian's mind was made up, the both of them could only resign themselves to it. They solemnly vowed that they would protect and send Zhong Xian out of the cloud mist ridge safely, even at the cost of their lives. What? School head Mo, you can't. School head Mo, this won't do. They are lying. Hearing those words, the master teachers below yelled in panic. Enough. This is the decision made by the Master Teacher Academy. All master teachers, retreat and assemble at Leiyuan Peak. School head Mo roared. Chapter 878, Returning to Cloud Mist Ridge. Yes. Even though the master teachers felt indignant and frustrated, they knew that they had to obey the orders made by the Master Teacher Academy or else there would be chaos. Thus, they withdrew from the battlefield and headed to Leiyuan Peak. Watching as the students retreated, Zhong Xian instructed, School head Zhao, you should remain behind to command the students. They need a leader to unite them at a moment like this. Try to avoid all confrontations with the spirit beasts for the time being if possible. It will suffice for just school head Mo and me to head to the negotiations. Hearing that Zhong Xian was sending him away, Zhao Bingshu hurriedly shook his head. That won't do. I will follow you to the Cloud Mist Ridge as well. Even though their principal had made huge progress in his cultivation recently, he was still only at Chrysalis Realm primary stage. With the other party's current cultivation, heading into the Cloud Mist Ridge, which was filled with saint beasts, was no different from courting death. Even at the expense of his life, Zhao Bingshu was determined to follow the other party to ensure his safety. Are you going to disobey my orders right after nominating me as your principal? Zhong Xian frowned. If you are unwilling to listen to my commands, the two of you might as well remain here. I will head in myself. Principal Zhong. Zhao Bingshu frowned in worry. School head Zhao, those students do need you with them, so you should go. Don't worry, I will make sure that no one harms Principal Zhong, School head Mo said. In the next moment, he sent a telepathic message to Zhao Bingshu. After you return, reorganize our forces and find Musha and the others. 4 hours, if we don't return in 4 hours, launch an attack against the Cloud Mist Ridge. I will remain by Principal Zhong's side to ensure his safety for the next 4 hours. This. Zhao Bingshu was taken aback for an instant before he nodded grimly. All right then, I will be heading off now. Zhong Xian could tell that the duo had communicated telepathically as well, but he didn't pay it any heed. Standing on top of the infernal dragon saint beast, he and school head Zhao began heading for the Cloud Mist Ridge. Zhao Bingshu watched their departing backs with clenched fists for a moment before rushing back to the Master Teacher Academy. Principal Zhong, no harm can come to you. He knew that their principal was proposing this negotiation for the sake of the students of the Master Teacher Academy. It might seem as if he was undermining the authority and dignity of the academy, but this battle had come too suddenly, and they were largely unprepared. This was the best solution to preserve their fighting power at the moment. To bear the blame of failure so as to protect his fellow master teachers from harm, such decisiveness and courage. They had indeed chosen the right candidate for the job. Zhongshe was indeed a person whom they could count on, a true master teacher who, just like Kongshe, possessed a heart that was large enough to embrace the world. Perhaps, they might just become witnesses to the birth of a new legend. The Inferno Dragon Saint Beast flew swiftly, and in just a few moments, they had already arrived at the Cloud Mist Ridge. Standing tall on top of the Saint Beast, school head Mo bellowed, I, Mo Zhu of the Master Teacher Academy, have come as agreed. I ask the kings of the Cloud Mist Ridge to meet me, a composed voice responded. Ride on the eagle beast, he will bring you to us. As for your Saint Beast, leave him outside. I fear that we might end up putting him in a difficult position if negotiations fail. School head Mo's Inferno Dragon Saint Beast was a beast as well. If negotiations were to break down, it would be cast in a difficult position. If it were to help its master, that would be equivalent to betraying his kin, but if he were to help the beasts, that would be equivalent to betraying his master. No matter what he did, there was no correct decision. All right. After issuing some instructions telepathically to his tamed beast, school head Mo wrapped Zhongxian with his zhenqi before leaping over to the back of the grey-feathered eagle beast not too far away. Chiu. The eagle beast let out a sharp call before it spread its wings wide and flew forward. The eagle beast bore some resemblance to the viridescent eagle that Zhongxian had tamed before, but it was much stronger. Having reached Chrysalis realm, it was able to move at incredible speeds. Principal Zhong, for the time being, let's just say that you are a student of mine. If they try to make things difficult for us, I will try to find a way to send you out safely, school head Mo told Zhongxian telepathically. Zhongxian shook his head. There is no need to go through so much trouble. If I don't reveal my identity, how can we negotiate with them? That would be too dangerous. School head Mo shook his head grimly. These saint beasts have always been at odds with us humans, and it was just a matter of time before a battle broke out. In truth, our Master Teacher Academy has been looking for a way to eliminate them as well, but those fellows are constantly holed up in their dens, refusing to come out. Both the Master Teacher Academy and the royal family have dispatched many men to scout the depths of the Cloud Mist Ridge over the years, but very few have managed to return alive. Dispatched many men? Zhongxian frowned as he recalled the many corpses he had seen around the lake of Earth Vein Spirit Essence back then. Most likely, those corpses were probably a squadron dispatched by the royal family or the Master Teacher Academy as well. The Cloud Mist Ridge is consistently covered in mist all year round, and its terrain is extremely complicated as well, making it a stout natural fortress. The saint beasts gathered in the area are like a thorn stuck in our throat, posing a potential threat to us. We have been wanting to eliminate them for some time already, but it's a pity that we have been unable to breach their defenses. At this point, school head Mo suddenly recalled something, and his complexion turned grim. Furthermore, there seems to be a deeper reason behind why the saint beasts choose to dominate the Cloud Mist Ridge. The old principal seemed to have uncovered something about them, but he disappeared before he could tell anyone else about it. Also, according to the investigations over the years, it seems like Elder Wu Yang's disappearance also had something to do with the Cloud Mist Ridge. Hearing those words, Zhongxian narrowed his eyes. He had a rough understanding of the mystery concerning Wu Yang's disappearance, and he had obtained the latter's treasure as well. If the Cloud Mist Ridge was involved in Wu Yang's disappearance too, it could mean that the otherworldly demonic tribe was behind them. Could Vicious be involved in this matter as well? After obtaining Wu Yang's treasure, Zhongxian had asked Vicious about this matter, but the latter had lost most of his memories, so he wasn't able to say much. However, it was certain that Wu Yang's disappearance was plotted by the otherworldly demons. Were these saint beasts involved in the operation as well? That might really be the case. For an expert who was nearing Saint Tu Dan to be kidnapped discreetly in Hongyuan City, where the Master Teacher Academy was located, it was impossible for the otherworldly demons to conduct such an operation by themselves. In order to uncover the truth, we have dispatched even Saint Realm experts into the Cloud Mist Ridge, but none of them succeeded. 700 years ago, I tried to scout this land myself as well, and if not for the old principal, I might have just lost my life here, school head Mo said with reddened eyes. When he was still young and hot-blooded, he had secretly crept into the Cloud Mist Ridge in hopes of uncovering the secrets surrounding it. However, before he could get far, he had already found himself assaulted by hordes of beasts. If not for the old principal lending a helping hand, he would have lost his life then. I see. Zhongxian hadn't expected for school head Mo to have had such an experience. He had ventured into the Cloud Mist Ridge once as well, and there was indeed something rather bizarre about it. Were it not for his means as a soul oracle and his otherworldly demon puppets, he would have definitely been unable to sneak into the depths of the Cloud Mist Ridge and steal the Earth Vein Spirit Essence. Thus, you really mustn't reveal your identity later on. Otherwise, the saint beasts might just attempt to capture you and hold you hostage, school head Mo said. All right then. Zhongxian nodded. Considering the many uncertainties and implications surrounding the matter, It would be very dangerous for him to reveal his true identity. Even with the Byzantium Alios beast, the Golden Origin Cauldron, and his many otherworldly demon puppets, it would still be difficult for him to escape from the hordes of half-saint, nascent saint, and saint realm beasts of the Cloud Mist Ridge. While the duo was speaking, the eagle beast flew across the mist and arrived on the mountain peak. Taking a closer look, Zhongxian realized that the surroundings looked familiar to him. It was the place where he had procured the earth vein spirit essence. Chio! The eagle beast called out sharply before descending to the ground. After which, school head Mo and Zhongxian leaped off the back of the eagle beast. I, Mo Zhu of the Master Teacher Academy, have arrived with my student. I beseech the kings of the Cloud Mist Ridge to meet us. Stepping forward, school head Mo exuded the impressive aura of a Saint Realm wand and pinnacle to put up a display of power. School head Mo, come in. An impassive voice sounded from the cavern ahead of them. Following which, two half-saint Black Spirit Panther walked out and made a welcoming gesture. They seemed to be the guards of this cavern. Let's go. Taking a deep breath, school head Mo took the lead and walked in, and Zhongxian followed behind him. Scanning his surroundings, Zhongxian noticed that there were many half-saint and nascent saint beasts guarding the area, similar to how it had been the last time he was there, except for the significant decrease in their numbers. It seemed like a handful of them had been dispatched for the battle with the Master Teacher Academy. Advancing deeper into the cavern, they soon arrived at the area where the earth vein spirit essence had been stored, and there, they met 10-seated Saint Wand and Pinnacle Saint beasts. As soon as school head Mo and Zhongxian approached, they immediately turned their eyes to them, and there was chilling killing intent in their gazes. One of the 10 Saint Wand and Pinnacle Saint beasts, a golden bear tiger beast, uttered coldly, Mo Zhu, you sure are arrogant to bring a Chrysalis Realm student here. As the head of the Beast Tamer School, school head Mo had a rough idea regarding the various saint beasts that lived on the Cloud Mist Ridge. Paying no heed to the golden bear tiger beast, school head Mo said with a wave of his hand, since I am here, we can begin talking about how we can resolve the battle between the Master Teacher Academy and Cloud Mist Ridge amicably. I believe that we can both agree that if we continue fighting like that, both sides will just suffer severe losses. There will be no winner in this battle. Suffer severe losses? So what if we suffer severe losses? You humans stole our earth vein spirit essence, destroying our very foundation. Let me tell you this straight. If we beasts are going to suffer, I will make sure that you humans feel double the pain, the Saint Wand and Pinnacle Scarlet Blaze Lion roared. We stole your earth vein spirit essence. School head Mo frowned. Indeed. This is the ground where we store our earth vein spirit essence, but it has been completely emptied out now. Only you despicable humans are capable of such underhanded actions, the Scarlet Blaze Lion bellowed furiously. School head Mo took a look at his surroundings, and there was indeed a depression in the cave reminiscent of an empty lake. Even though there was nothing in it, he could still feel the lingering spiritual energy, indicating that something extremely rich in spiritual energy had once been stored in the depression. But this was the very core of the Cloud Mist Ridge. Countless nascent saint and saint realm beasts guarded the area. To be able to steal the spirit essence under such circumstances, which expert could it be? One must know that school head Mo had already reached a considerable height in his cultivation when he had attempted to scale the mountain back then, but he had nearly been killed before he could even reach the halfway mark of the mountain. To be able to successfully sneak in, steal the treasure of the saint beasts, and escape alive. That fellow sure had helped mankind vent the countless years of pent-up frustration at those arrogant saint beast. I am unaware of such a matter. But even though school head Mo was full of awe for that anonymous expert, he didn't allow it to show on his face. Instead, he frowned deeply and asked, you claimed that it is the doing of a human, but do you have any evidence? Have you uncovered the culprit yet? Ha, unaware of the matter. Do you think that you can cover this matter just by saying that you are unaware of it? The golden bear tiger beast harumphed. I am not trying to cover up the matter. It's just that if you don't have any evidence or suspects in mind, there is no way I can help you redress your grievances. I don't think that we will be able to get anywhere by arguing about that, so let's talk about the battle instead, school head Mo said. If it's just a small skirmish between us, the Master Teacher Pavilion wouldn't bother getting involved. However, if this matter were to blow up and bring great misery and suffering to the populace, there is no guarantee that the Master Teacher Pavilion won't decide that there is no need for your cloud mist ridge to continue existing in the world and wipe it away with a swipe of their hands. Even if I don't point it out, I believe that you should be extremely clear of this as well. Since you have already lain low for so many years, why start something now and let your efforts go in vain? Hearing School Head Mo's words, the golden bear tiger beast sneered coldly and said, "In the past, we still had the earth vein spirit essence. It represented hope for us to advance our stagnated cultivation, so we were still willing to lie low back then. But now, we won't take reconciliation completely off the table just yet. As long as the Master Teacher Academy is willing to compensate us 50,000 high-tier spirit stones and help us set up 500 grade 6 spirit gathering formations all over Cloud Mist Ridge, I will order my spirit beasts to retreat immediately." Chapter 879 Zhongxian's means 1. 50,000 high-tier spirit stones? 500 grade 6 spirit gathering formations? Impossible. You must be dreaming. Come up with something else. School Head Mo's face darkened. You are clearly trying to take advantage of us. 50,000 high-tier spirit stones? Even if you overturn the entire Master Teacher Academy, you won't be able to find that much money. Besides, it is not like our Master Teacher Academy is afraid of you. It is only in consideration of the death and suffering that a full-blown war will bring that we are negotiating with you. If it really comes down to it, we can definitely overthrow your Cloud Mist Ridge if we mobilize all of our strength. Come up with something else. I'm afraid that those are the only things I want. Accept it or not, the decision is in your hands. But of course, if you turn down the offer, the war will immediately resume. I haven't mobilized our aerial spirit beasts yet. Once we do you think that your students who are still incapable of flight will be able to stop them? Once they reach Hongyuan City, the death toll won't be just a dozen people or so. I sure would like to see how you will account to your headquarters and the populace once that happens. The golden bear tiger beast sneered coldly. Master teachers were tasked with the responsibility of ensuring the peace and security of the region. If aerial spirit beasts were to really overrun Hongyuan City and massacre the populace, the credibility of the Master Teacher Academy would surely be destroyed. At the same time, the trust in the Master Teacher Pavilion's capability would also waver. Are you threatening me? School Head Mo asked with a cold glint in his eyes. For the Master Teacher Academy to be threatened by a bunch of saint beasts, what a joke. The dignity of Master Teachers could not be sullied. Those weren't just empty words. If anyone were to dare do so, the Master Teacher Pavilion wouldn't hesitate to wipe them off the face of the world. Back then, the Soul Oracles had been a very powerful faction themselves, but they had still disappeared in the annals of history. The Poison Masters were also known for their fearsome capability to defeat opponents stronger than them, but they still dared not build their poison hall openly. No matter what, School Head Mo couldn't let this threat pass. But just as he was about to lash out at them, he suddenly heard Principal Zhong's voice in his mind. Find a way to uncover the location of their aerial spirit beasts and send me over to take a look. School Head Mo was stunned. Why would Principal Zhong ask this? Furthermore, why would he want to take a look at the aerial spirit beasts? But since the other party had requested it, he must have had his reasons for doing so. Thus, with a deep frown on his face, School Head Mo turned to the golden bear tiger beast and sneered, "So what if there are aerial spirit beasts in the Cloud Mist Ridge? We have hundreds of cultivators capable of flight in our Master Teacher Academy. What makes you think that we won't be able to stop your forces? Even if you wish to threaten us, at least find something that can scare us." "Ha, hundreds of cultivators capable of flight? Let me tell you this, our Cloud Mist Ridge has 3,000 aerial spirit beasts, and each of them is capable of flying at incredible speeds. There might be many Saint Realm experts in the Master Teacher Academy, but there is no way they will be able to stop every single one of them. As long as several hundred of them bypass your defenses, they will be able to bring forth devastating destruction. Besides, we can choose to launch an attack on the nearby small towns instead. I don't believe that you have enough Saint Realm experts to clear off each and every one of them quickly." The golden bear tiger beast sneered coldly, his tone dripping with threat. 3,000. School head Mo burst into laughter. Do you take me for a fool? Are you including those transcendent mortal 1 Dan and 2 Dan aerial spirit beasts in your calculation as well? Aerial spirit beasts were capable of causing massive destruction, as ordinary cultivators were incapable of flying to hunt them down. However, the strength of the aerial spirit beasts mattered as well. If they were only at transcendent mortal 1 Dan or 2 Dan, what harm could they cause in Hongyuan Empire, which was filled with transcendent mortal cultivators? The Master Teacher Academy could easily destroy them all just by dispatching a few students here and there. Transcendent mortal 1 Dan 2 Dan? School head Mo, it seems like you are lacking intelligence on the prowess of our Cloud Mist Ridge. Even the weakest of our 3,000-strong aerial spirit beast troop is at transcendent mortal 7 Dan. Do you still think that your Master Teacher Academy has the ability to stop them in their tracks? The golden bear tiger beast scoffed. Transcendent mortal 7 Dan? You sure know how to brag. School head Mo shook his head with a look of disbelief. You don't believe me? The golden bear tiger beast frowned. How can you expect me to believe such blatant lies? Since you are clearly insincere in the negotiations, I think there is no need for us to talk any further. At this point, school head Mo hesitated for an instant before adding, if you want me to believe your words, there is one way. You can send a saint beast to escort this student of mine to take a look. If you really do have that many powerful aerial spirit beasts, I will immediately send a message to the other school heads and even Emperor Yu Shenqing to ask for permission to negotiate in their stead. The golden bear tiger beast raised his massive paw and harumphed. You obstinate old fogey. Fine. Black spirit panthers, take the student of school head Mo to take a look at our army of aerial spirit beast. Even though he had spoken with great bravado, the truth was that he was also fearful about the might of the Master Teacher Academy as well. As an organization that had groomed many generations of master teachers, it was surely filled with many experts. If it was just the students, he was confident that they would be able to wipe them out easily. However, if the opponent included the teachers and elders as well, even with the geographical advantage they possessed, it would still be a matter of time before they were overrun. Furthermore, the Master Teacher Academy still had the headquarters behind it. Even if they were to win the battle against the Master Teacher Academy by some incredible stroke of luck, what they would face next would be an impossible enemy. In light of this, they couldn't give up on the negotiations easily either. Roar. The 2 half-saint realm black spirit panthers answered with a call before heading toward them. School head Mo, try to stall them for as long as you can, and don't engage them in a battle if possible. Take care of yourself. Sending a telepathic message to school head Mo, Zhongxian turned around and followed the black spirit panthers out of the cavern. Noted. Even though school head Mo was unsure what Zhongxian was up to, he still had some trust in Zhongxian's capability. He turned to the golden bear tiger beast and said, if the situation is as you have said, I will report the matter as it is to the Master Teacher Academy before making a decision. I can't give you an affirmative answer right now, but if you really do have such a powerful army of aerial spirit beasts, it is not entirely impossible for us to give in to your terms. Oh. I will be looking forward to your reply then, the golden bear tiger beast replied with a smirk. At the same time, a hint of relief flashed through the eyes of the other saint beasts in the area as well. If they could avoid battle, that would be for the best. As powerful as they were, they knew that it was utter foolishness to go head-to-head with the Master Teacher Pavilion. For that moment, the cavern fell silent. Seeing that he had managed to stall for some time, school head Mo secretly heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, he couldn't help but wonder what Zhongxian hoped to achieve by paying the army of aerial spirit beasts a visit. It would be difficult to deal with such a force even if all of the teachers of the Master Teacher Academy were to be mobilized. What could Zhongxian do alone? Following behind the 2 black spirit panthers, Zhongxian walked out of the cavern and saw dozens of half-saint and nascent saint beasts patrolling the area, glaring at him viciously whenever they passed him by. Esteemed beasts, my cultivation is still very low. I am afraid that these saint beasts will do me harm if they remain in this area. Can you ask them to back down for the moment? Zhongxian said as he cowered back fearfully. Roar. Seeing a chrysalis realm master teacher acting so timidly, The lips of the two black spirit panthers curled up into a disdainful smile. It was my teacher who insisted on bringing me over and sending me to check on the aerial spirit beasts. If I had a choice, I would have definitely stayed away as far as I could. I beseech you, just do me this one favor. As long as they can stay away, I am willing to give these 2 spirit stones to you. At this point, Zhongxian flicked his wrist and threw out 2 high-tier spirit stones as he scanned his surroundings unwarily. Grabbing a high-tier spirit stone each, the eyes of the 2 black spirit panthers immediately lit up. As half-saint beasts, the resources they could access were extremely limited. As such, a high-tier spirit stone was a highly valuable item to them. Roar. Gripping the high-tier spirit stones, the 2 massive black spirit panthers abruptly roared loudly, seemingly issuing an order. In an instant, the half-saint and nascent saint beasts in the area hurriedly backed off, and it didn't take long for them to disappear from sight. While the black spirit panthers weren't the strongest of them all, they were the personal attendants of the various kings of the Cloud Mist Ridge, so none of them dared to disobey their commands. Roar. After the beasts in the surroundings left, the 2 black spirit panthers glanced at Zhongxian with a look of superiority in their eyes. What they wanted to express was simple: how did someone so timid become a master teacher? Hee hee. Facing their ridicule, Zhongxian chuckled lightly as he flicked his wrist. Who? An identical figure abruptly appeared beside Zhongxian's side, and with a step each, they disappeared from the spot and appeared right before the 2 black spirit panthers in the blink of an eye and simultaneously threw a punch forward. Pang! Pang! Everything had happened so fast that the 2 black spirit panthers had no opportunity to respond before they were sent flying. Crashing into the ground, their bodies convulsed, rendering them unable to move. You have 2 choices before you. Submit, or die. The 2 Zhongxians walked up to the 2 black spirit panthers and stepped on their heads as they glanced down at them coldly. Roar! They hadn't expected that they, as half-saint experts, would be defeated by a chrysalis realm cultivator all of a sudden, and they were completely stunned. It didn't take too long for them to make a decision. A few breaths later, a droplet of fresh blood flew out from glabellas of each of the black spirit panthers and flew toward Zhongxian. Black spirit panthers, tamed. Good. Call those half-saint and nascent saint beasts over here one by one. Tell them that the golden bear tiger beast is summoning them over. Zhongxian instructed the tamed black spirit panthers. Roar. Not daring to disobey Zhongxian, the 2 black spirit panthers hurriedly nodded before rushing away. After they left, Zhongxian summoned the Byzantium Alios beast and the golden origin cauldron. Byzantium lad and Ding Ding, I will need you to help me beat those saint beasts into submission later on. Yes, Master, the Byzantium Alios beast nodded. Hehe. This is exactly the kind of thing I like. Master, can I reduce those who refuse to submit to cinders? The Golden Origin Cauldron said with an excited undertone in its voice. As the guardian saint artifact of the Master Teacher Academy, it was usually stowed away in the depths of the academy until a major crisis occurred. As such, it rarely had an opportunity to fight. You may. Zhongxian nodded, acceding to the Golden Origin Cauldron's request. The reason he had chosen to infiltrate the Cloud Mist Ridge was to have everyone here submit to him. As for those who refused, the only fate awaiting them was death. Roar. Soon, a nascent saint beast was escorted there by the Black Spirit Panther. 2 minutes later, it was kneeling before Zhongxian, submitted. A few minutes later, 3 more half-saint beasts submitted. 10 minutes later, all of the half-saint and nascent saint beasts patrolling the area were under Zhongxian's control. Heaving a sigh of relief, Zhongxian issued several instructions. All right. Just like before, scatter yourselves in the surroundings, don't let anyone else notice any anomaly. Black Spirit Panthers, bring me to the aerial spirit beast. These half-saint and nascent saint beasts were easier to tame than he had thought. There were only 2 who had refused to listen to his words, and they had been reduced to cinders on the spot by the Golden Origin Cauldron. Such an action had a deterrent effect on the other beasts. Knowing that the young man before them wouldn't hesitate to kill them should they choose otherwise, the others hurriedly submitted as well. The Black Spirit Panthers obediently led the way forward. Master, The aerial spirit beasts are gathered in the valley over there. Zhong Xian stowed his clone, the Byzantium Alios beast, and the golden origin cauldron into his myriad ant hive nest before leaping onto one of the black spirit panthers and setting forth. Chapter 880 Zhong Xian's means 2. The area where the aerial spirit beasts were located wasn't in close proximity to the cavern. Even with the black spirit panther sprinting at full speed, it still took an entire 5 minutes before they arrived at their destination. Beneath their feet was a massive valley with a diameter of around 3 li. Activating his eye of insight, Zhong Xian peered into the valley. Just as the golden bear tiger beast had said, there were indeed 3,000 of them, and every single one of them had reached transcendent mortal 7 dan at the very least. If such a huge group of aerial spirit beasts were to launch an assault toward Hongyuan City, it would indeed be difficult for any defending force to stop their charge perfectly. In the event of an attack, even if they did successfully clear away every single one of them in the end, Hongyuan City would probably suffer devastating damage as well. I have to set up a formation to ensure that none of them manage to escape, Zhong Xian thought. There were simply too many aerial spirit beasts in the area. If any of them noticed that something was amiss and escaped to inform the golden bear tiger beast of the matter, School Head Mo would be placed in a very dangerous position. Taking a deep breath, Zhong Xian began scanning his surroundings to analyze how he should set up his formation. This geographical terrain seems to be suited for the Grade 6 Resplendent Alios illusory formation. Alright, that shall be it then. Even though he hadn't taken the Formation Master examination yet, his comprehension of formations was already on par with a 6-star Pinnacle Formation Master. With his current capability, he could still easily determine the most appropriate formation to use swiftly by looking at the terrain. Flicking his wrist, he took out a bunch of formation flags. After which, he stepped forcefully against the ground and leaped down into the midst of the aerial spirit beasts. Roar. Upon seeing that a human was amid them, the aerial spirit beasts roared in astonishment. However, just as they were about to launch an assault to kill the intruder, the 2 black spirit panthers abruptly leaped up as well and roared, "This is the man who has come here to negotiate with our kings, Zhongsha. He is here to take a look at our aerial spirit beast army camp, as well as set a formation around here. There is no need to be alarmed." Those black spirit panthers spoke in the beast language, so the aerial spirit beasts could comprehend what they were saying. As those speaking were the attendants of their kings, the aerial spirit beasts had no objections whatsoever. They scattered and returned to whatever they were doing before. Heaving a sigh of relief, Zhong Xian drove his zhengqi, and the flags in his hands began scattering into the surroundings. Who? As the resplendent Alios illusory formation came to life, a thick mist began to set into the valley, shrouding all of the aerial spirit beasts within it. Knowing that the young man was going to set up a formation, the aerial spirit beasts didn't panic, waiting for him quietly to finish instead. Time to start. With a chuckle, Zhong Xian brought out his clone, and the both of them dived into the mist. Roar, roar, roar. In an instant, the cries of the aerial spirit beasts immediately filled the valley. Even the strongest of these aerial spirit beasts was only at Chrysalis Realm Pinnacle, so they were no match for Zhong Xian and his clone at all. As such, there wasn't even a need to bring out the Byzantium Alios beast and the Golden Origin Cauldron. Every few steps Zhong Xian took, an aerial spirit beast submitted. While Zhong Xian was busy taming the aerial spirit beasts, in the cavern, School Head Mo's forehead was covered with sweat. It had been 2 hours since Zhong Xian left, and the saint beasts were beginning to get suspicious. The golden bear tiger beast, who stood at the very center of the room, bellowed with a livid face, "Why aren't they back yet? Moju, what the hell is your student doing? A trip to the valley where the aerial spirit beast army was located and back should only take 20 minutes at most. For them to be gone for 2 hours, it was clear that there was something really wrong. My student is only a Chrysalis Realm cultivator while your Cloudmist Ridge is filled with many saint beasts. What are you worrying about?" Even though School Head Mo was panicking inside, he didn't allow any of it to show on his face. With a composed chuckle, he said, "My student is a very meticulous person, so he is probably checking thoroughly to confirm the strength of your aerial spirit beast army. Or, are you worried that he will escape? Escape? Ha! With you here, What can a mere student like him do? The golden bear tiger beast harumphed coldly. Scarlet Blaze Lion, go and check what that fellow is up to. Humans have always been a cunning race, so don't fall for his lies. Yes. Nodding, the Scarlet Blaze Lion began to walk out of the cavern. Wait a moment. Astonished, School Head Mo immediately got to his feet. He is just a student. Are the kings of the Cloud Mist Ridge so timid? Timid? The golden bear tiger beast burst into laughter, as if he had just heard a hilarious joke. Scarlet Blaze Lion, ignore him. Go and take a look. Ignoring School Head Mo's attempt to stall for time, the golden bear tiger beast gestured for the Scarlet Blaze Lion to move on. Seeing that the Scarlet Blaze Lion was really going to head out, School Head Mo suddenly chuckled softly and said, I have long heard that the great golden bear tiger beast king of Cloud Mist Ridge possesses extraordinary strength. Do you dare to have a match with me? I am interested in experiencing the prowess of the beast tribe myself. You are challenging me to a duel? Not expecting School Head Mo to make such an abrupt request, the golden bear tiger beast frowned. Pardon me, did I scare you? School Head Mo said with a wry smile. Scare me? You must be joking. If a duel is what you want, a duel is what you'll get. Harumphing coldly, the golden bear tiger beast got to his feet. Good. Scarlet Blaze Lion King, why don't you remain here to watch our battle? You will be next after I am done with Golden Bear Tiger Beast King, School Head Mo said haughtily. Naturally, this was an attempt to stall for time as well. Even though he wasn't sure what Zhongxian was up to, he was determined to accomplish what he had promised the latter. Sure. The Scarlet Blaze Lion nodded. Both School Head Mo and the Golden Bear Tiger Beast were the strongest existences in Hongyuan Empire. Naturally, watching a battle between the both of them was much more interesting than looking for a Chrysalis Realm fellow. Let's begin then. Fearing that the Golden Bear Tiger Beast would notice that he was stalling once he was given time to think, School Head Mo rushed forward and thrust his palm at the Saint Beast. The incredible might of a Saint Wundan pinnacle abruptly permeated the entire cavern. With just a single palm, the ground of the cavern began creaking in protest, seemingly on the verge of breaking under the immense force. Ha ha ha. If this is all you've got, I have to say that you are a disgrace to the name of 10 great master teachers. Against the immense pressure, the Golden Bear Tiger Beast didn't show the slightest fear. Instead, with a furious bellow, he raised his paw and swiped forward, causing the air to release a painful screech as it was torn in two. Sila. Under the powerful might, the strength of School Head Mo's palm thrust was completely neutralized. In the next instant, the Golden Bear Tiger Beast furiously flicked its whip-like tail toward School Head Mo. The strength and speed behind it were so great that even with School Head Mo's Saint Realm Wundan pinnacle cultivation, he would surely suffer severe injuries if it were to land on him. Who? Not daring to face the tail directly, School Head Mo swiftly dodged with a side leap. Su. But in that instant, the Golden Bear Tiger Beast sent yet another swipe toward School Head Mo. In the midst of a leap, he was unable to change the trajectory of his motion abruptly, so he could only face the swipe head-on with a punch. As the paw and the fist came into contact, School Head Mo instantaneously felt a crushing pressure on his chest, and he was sent flying away. His back crashed heavily into the wall of the cavern, creating a huge hole behind him. Beasts had always possessed superior physical resilience and strength compared to humans, and the Golden Bear Tiger Beast was the most formidable saint beast in the Cloud Mist Ridge. School Head Mo was, by no means, weak, but it was still impossible for him to face the other party head-on. Ha, is this the strength of a member of the 10 great master teachers? Nothing impressive about it at all. With a deafening roar that jolted one's mind silly, the Golden Bear Tiger Beast charged forward with impressive momentum. As the saying went, the dragons soared amid the clouds, and the tiger raced against the wind. Even though the Golden Bear Tiger Beast wasn't a tiger in the truest sense, it did possess part of its bloodline. Even before the other party had reached him, School Head Mo could already feel a huge gust of wind blowing in his face. Astonished, he quickly freed himself and whipped out a sword to counterattack. If he was no match for the other party in terms of brute force, he would have to rely on his weapon then. Su. Moving at an unbelievable speed, The sword left aftershadows in its wake as it charged toward the golden bear tiger beast. In the face of the powerful stab, the golden bear tiger beast didn't even bother to dodge. Instead, it took in a deep breath, and its fur immediately turned pitch black, reminiscent of a scale. Ding ding ding! The tip of the sword and the fur collided with astonishing momentum, but the sword was unable to pierce through the fur. What? School head Mo's face paled. He had known that it was unlikely that he would be a match for the golden bear tiger beast, but he hadn't expected the other party to be so powerful. To think that his sword wouldn't even be able to penetrate the other party's defense, this was way too fearsome. It was no wonder that, even though the 10 indomitable kings of the Cloud Mist Ridge were all at St. Wundan Pinnacle, they still obeyed his orders without the slightest hesitation. Just this defense itself was sufficient to render most saint beasts and cultivators powerless. 13 swords of the red leaf. However, he couldn't back down now. The slightest hesitation in his movement could spell his defeat. School head Mo immediately drove his junchi through a unique circulation pathway in his body, and a piercing buzz emanated from his sword. In that instant, astounding might gathered in his sword, and it felt as if it would tear down anything that stood in its path. The 13 swords of the red leaf, his strongest battle technique. Back then, the Inferno Dragon Saint Beast had fallen under this move of his and willingly became his tamed beast. TZZZZZZ. In that instant, the aftershadows of the sword seemed to form a red leaf in midair as it rushed forward with a might that threatened to shatter everything before it. Interesting. However, if you hope to defeat me with just this, you must be dreaming. The golden bear tiger beast was slightly astonished for an instant when he saw school head Mo execute his sword art, but his astonishment swiftly gave way to a wry smile. Sharp claws emerged from his raised paws, and he launched a devastating swipe toward school head Mo's sword. Ding ding ding! The paw and the red leaf collided. The golden bear tiger beast was forced to retreat a single step under the immense force, but school head Mo was sent flying once more as blood spurted from his mouth. His body smashed heavily onto the ground, and his complexion turned ghastly pale from the severe internal injuries he had suffered. He hurriedly stood up and swallowed a recovery pill, and after a brief moment of recuperation, he finally felt his injuries alleviating slightly. How is it? Does my strength satisfy you? The golden bear tiger beast roared with laughter as its gaze fell on the defeated school head Mo. Even though it had sustained some injuries from the previous collision as well, its condition was still much better than that of the other party. This battle had ended with a complete victory on his part. You are indeed powerful, school head Mo said as he got to his feet. He truly wasn't a match for the other party. Even though they were at the same cultivation realm, it was still too difficult for a cultivator like him to overcome the innate advantages that saint beasts possessed. Otherwise, the Byzantium Aelios beast wouldn't have been known as the strongest expert in the Master Teacher Academy. The golden bear tiger beast returned to his seat and commanded, "All right, since this duel is over, Scarlet Blaze Lion, you can hurry over to see what that lad is up to now. If he is plotting something against the Cloud Mist Ridge, you have permission to kill him on the spot." Yes. The Scarlet Blaze Lion nodded before heading out of the cavern. No, wait. Hearing those words, school head Mo panicked. He was going to step forward to stop the Scarlet Blaze Lion, but the golden bear tiger beast's cold words suddenly reverberated through the cavern at this moment. Why? Does school head Mo want to have another round with me? School head Mo's body trembled. With the injuries he had sustained, he couldn't afford to fight against the golden bear tiger beast again. Otherwise, he might just lose his life. He had no idea whether or not Zhongxian was done with whatever he was trying to do, but he was already at his wit's end. He couldn't stall the other party any longer. At this point, the golden bear tiger beast had also noticed school head Mo's motive, and he bellowed furiously, "What are you waiting for? Go." Yes, the Scarlet Blaze Lion swiftly rushed out of the cavern, and in a moment, he had already disappeared from sight. Principal Zhong. Watching as the other party's back disappeared, school head Mo's body fell feebly to the ground. I have already done all I can. 5 kilometers. Chapter 881. You, come out for a moment. The scarlet blaze lion rushed out of the cavern and flew straight toward the valley where the aerial spirit beasts were garrisoned. It didn't take him too long to arrive at his destination. The scarlet blaze lion frowned. Why is there an illusory formation here? Standing before him was a gigantic formation that shrouded the entire valley. From time to time, the bellowing of spirit beasts could be heard from within. At the entrance of the valley, the two black spirit panthers, who had escorted that fellow to this valley earlier, stood guard, watching the surroundings warily. The scarlet blaze lion flew toward the two panthers and gazed at them coldly. Black spirit panthers, what is going on? Scarlet blaze lion king. Upon seeing the other party, the black spirit panthers leaped in shock. They hurriedly explained, "It's like this. That Zhongsha fellow is a skilled formation master, and as soon as we arrived here, he immediately set up a formation, and before we could comprehend what was going on, he disappeared. We tried looking around for him, but we couldn't find him anywhere." "You fools." The scarlet blaze lion glared at them. It was clear that the other party was up to no good from the fact that he had set up a formation here, and these two fellows actually didn't attempt to stop him at all. How could they be so dim-witted? However, as illusory formations couldn't isolate auras, the scarlet blaze lion could clearly sense that the spirit beasts within were still alive and kicking. If the other party wasn't intending to deal with the aerial spirit beasts, what was his reason behind setting up this formation? As the scarlet blaze lion racked his brain to make sense of the situation, the illusory formation before him abruptly dissipated, and a young man flew up from the valley. It was the young fellow he had met earlier, school head Mo's student. At this moment, Zhongxian's face was slightly pale, and he felt lightheaded from exhaustion. Even for a person of his stamina, he was still drained after spending the last 2 hours taming aerial spirit beasts. However, it was fortunate that his mission was a success. He had managed to have all of the aerial spirit beasts to acknowledge him as their master. Of course, there were a few thick-headed ones who obstinately refused to submit to him. Zhongxian didn't have the time to waste his words on them, so he killed them with a single punch. Upon seeing Zhongxian emerge from the valley, the scarlet blaze lion roared furiously, "Lad, what were you doing?" "It's nothing much. Byzantium lad and Ding Ding, help me take care of this fellow. I have to rest for a moment." Zhongxian didn't seem to be too surprised to see the scarlet blaze lion at all. He nonchalantly took out a grade 6 pill and swallowed it while flicking his wrist to release the Byzantium Alios beast and the Golden Origin Cauldron. Upon seeing that there was a Saint 1 Dan Pinnacle Saint beast to play with, the Golden Origin Cauldron cheered in excitement and charged forward. Peng! Before the scarlet blaze lion could even react to the situation, he had already been smacked into the face of the mountain, and large mouthfuls of blood spilled from his mouth. In the next moment, before he could even catch his breath, the huge fist of the Byzantium Alios beast had already appeared right before his eyes. Peng 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 peng. A saint beast and a saint tier artifact, two experts collaborating with one another, there was no way that the scarlet blaze lion could possibly withstand that. In the blink of an eye, his face was already disfigured with bruises and blood. He tried to escape, but his leg couldn't move. He tried to scream, but his voice wouldn't come out. Not too long later, that fellow ended up obediently acknowledging Zhongxian as his master with tears streaming down his cheeks. What is with my luck? I only came out to take a look, but I ended up being beaten up like this. Where is the justice in the world? What has happened to respecting the law? After offering a fragment of his soul to Zhongxian, the scarlet blaze lion greeted him with a bruised face. Master. Having recovered from his fatigue at this point, Zhongxian commanded as he stretched his back leisurely, "I want you to return to the cavern right now and lure 2 kings out." "Lure 2 kings out?" The scarlet blaze lions blinked blankly in response. "That's right." Zhongxian nodded. There was a total of 10 kings in the cavern. Even if he were to draw all of them out at once, there was no guarantee that he would be able to defeat all of them even with the Golden Origin Cauldron, the Byzantium Alios beast, and his otherworldly demon puppets, let alone tame them. Furthermore, if too many of them were gathered together, they would try to at least put on a show of bravado of some kind before their comrades, or else it would be too embarrassing for them to face one another in the future. If that was the case, that could complicate the taming process. Dealing with them one by one was much easier and simpler. All right, but... With his soul held hostage in Zhongshen's hands, the Scarlet Blaze Lion couldn't disobey him. However, he raised his face and said, "In my current state, I fear that they won't believe my words." The Golden Origin Cauldron had gotten too excited earlier, so it had accidentally gone overboard, causing the Scarlet Blaze Lion to look nothing like its originally majestic and dashing self. "Drink the contents of this gourd." Zhongshen infused a few surges of Heaven's Path Zhenqi into a gourd of Earth Vein Spirit Essence before passing it over. Due to the other party's massive physique and higher cultivation, it would require at least a dozen gourds of wine for the Scarlet Blaze Lion to make a complete recovery. Even if the other party wasn't drunk by then, the others might still notice that something was amiss from the strong scent of alcohol on him. On the other hand, by mixing the Earth Vein Spirit Essence with his Heaven's Path Zhenqi, the restorative effect of the Heaven's Path Zhenqi would be amplified, so a single gourd would suffice. Taking the gourd, the Scarlet Blaze Lion uncorked the cap, and with a single sniff, it suddenly felt the urge to keel over. This is the Earth Vein Spirit Essence. He had finally found the fellow who had stolen their treasure. But who would have thought that the thief would end up becoming his master? What was with this turn of events? It was just that morning that he had been hurling curses at the thief alongside the other kings, swearing to tear the other party into shreds. But a few hours later, here he was, kneeling before the other party respectfully. Ah, the wretched tragedies of a beast life. But as stifled as he felt within, the Scarlet Blaze Lion drank the spirit essence in the gourd in a single gulp. As the spiritual energy coursed through his body, the severe injuries he had sustained before swiftly healed. This. The Scarlet Blaze Lion blinked in confusion, completely dumbfounded. He was familiar with the properties of the Earth Vein Spirit Essence. Even at the very most, it should only have replenished his strength. When did it gain healing properties as well? I have added some medicinal herbs inside to give it the ability to heal injuries swiftly. As long as you serve me well, it isn't too difficult for me to raise your cultivation to spiritual perception realm, Zhongshen said. Yes. The Scarlet Blaze Lion nodded in agitation. It could be said to be a miraculous feat to grant the Earth Vein Spirit Essence, a substance formed solely out of spiritual energy, healing properties. If his master had such means, perhaps it might really just be able to help raise his cultivation to spiritual perception realm. All right, you may go now, Zhongshen said with a wave of his hand. Having tamed the Scarlet Blaze Lion, he could control the other party's life and death with a single thought, so he wasn't worried about the other party turning against him. Master. Watching as the Scarlet Blaze Lion returned to the cavern, the Byzantium Alios beast walked up to Zhongshen with admiration gleaming in his eyes. The Cloud Mist Ridge had always been a lurking threat to the Master Teacher Academy. Even the old principal had been helpless before it, but Zhongshen. As soon as he arrived, he had already tamed all of the half-saint and nascent saint beasts in the area. Now, he had even tamed one of the 10 indomitable kings, and it seemed like his streak was still going to continue. It might not be long before the entire Cloud Mist Ridge became a vassal of the Master Teacher Academy. Zhongshen thought that the Byzantium Alios beast was worried, so he reassured with a smile. We might not be a match for them now, but with an additional member of the 10 indomitable kings tamed, the odds will lean further in our favor. By then, we should be able to achieve an easy victory. From the moment he arrived on the battlefield, he had already come up with this plan. Naturally, it was also with such intentions in mind that he had asked school head Mo to propose a negotiation with the other party. This was the only way that he would be able to slip into the Cloud Mist Ridge to carry out his plan. The 10 indomitable kings were a formidable force when they were gathered together, and not even he was able to do anything about them. However, by luring them out one by one, as long as he could tame 4 of them, with their force along with the Byzantium Alios beast, the Golden Origin Cauldron, and the otherworldly demon puppets, the remaining members would surely fall to him as well. In the cavern, school head Mo was still oblivious to Zhongshen's intentions. He stared at the entrance of the cavern worriedly with clenched fists, fearing that the next being to enter would deliver bad news. Who? A figure appeared in his sight as the Crimson Blaze Lion rushed into the cavern. Seeing the Crimson Blaze Lion return to the cavern without anyone with him, The golden bear tiger beast frowned in displeasure. What happened? Where is the black spirit panthers and that lad? He had ordered the crimson blaze lion to find that fellow, so why had he returned alone? The scarlet blaze lion harumphed in displeasure. That fellow is more cunning than I thought. He managed to distract the black spirit panthers for a moment and slipped away. I tried to look around the area, but I wasn't able to determine which direction he escaped in. Steel-backed bear and emerald bamboo earth dragon, follow me to take a look. That fellow escaped. Ha ha ha. School head Mo, so that is your student? Abandoning his teacher in the face of danger to escape? The Master Teacher Academy sure has fallen. Hearing that the lad had abandoned his teacher and escaped, the other kings burst into laughter. It was said that the master teachers valued their lineage. But while the teacher was negotiating here, the student actually escaped as soon as he found the opportunity to do so. Disgraceful. School head Mo was dumbstruck as well. Principal Zhong escaped? He could hardly believe those words, but the Scarlet Blaze Lion shouldn't have any reason to lie about that. Sure, I will go with you to take a look. I sure didn't expect the Master Teacher Academy to have such a student in their ranks. The steel-backed bear stood up as he laughed uproariously. Ha ha ha, count me in as well. The emerald bamboo earth dragon rose from its seat as well. Just like the Scarlet Blaze Lion, these two fellows were Saint Wand and Pinnacle beasts as well. Their presence felt like an endless abyss, leaving one incapable of gauging how powerful they were. Find him quickly, we don't have much time to spare. The golden bear tiger beast said with a frown. Don't worry. The Scarlet Blaze Lion chuckled before bringing the two saint beasts out. After the three saint beasts left, the golden bear tiger beast turned to Schoolhead Mo and sneered coldly. Schoolhead Mo, what else do you have to say? Even your own direct disciple behaves so dishonorably. Tell me, where do you find the confidence to preach about morals and values to others? Only a person of upstanding character can win the respect of others. Despite being one of the esteemed 10 great master teachers, his direct disciple turned out to be a reprehensible scoundrel who cared only about his own safety in the face of danger. If others were to learn of this, he could very well die of shame. School head Mo clenched his fists tightly. Even though he didn't think that Principal Zhong would actually abandon him, he still couldn't help but feel apprehensive. The other party was the one who had proposed the negotiation, but 2 hours had passed, and the other party's figure was nowhere to be seen. Even up to this point, he still had no idea what was going on. He felt helpless and frustrated. Hehe, there's no doubt about it. That student of Schoolhead Mo must have been scared out of his wits when he saw our great army of aerial spirit beasts, and knowing that their defeat was imminent, he decided to flee in advance. I have always thought that master teachers are people with backbones, but this incident has truly opened my eyes. To think that they could stoop even lower than our beast tribe. The kings burst into laughter. Schoolhead Mo, there is no need to stall for time any longer. Both you and I know that it is futile. Hurry up and contact the other school heads and have them agree to our terms. Otherwise, you won't be getting out of here alive, the golden bear tiger beast said with a menacing edge to his voice. Sighing deeply, Schoolhead Mo was just about to speak when footsteps sounded outside the cavern once more. Turning his gaze over, the steel-backed bear, who had left just a moment ago, had returned. There is something really eerie about that fellow. I have no idea where he found those experts from, but even with the three of us combined, we aren't able to defeat his reinforcements. Tigerhead Beast and Steelfang Wolf, follow me. We shall crush him together. He found experts to reinforce him? What kind of experts did he bring in for the three of you to be unable to defeat them? The Tigerhead Beast and Steelfang Wolf both questioned him with a deep frown as they got up from their seats. I am not too sure either, but they don't seem like elders from the Master Teacher Academy. Let's talk on the way. I fear that the Scarlet Blaze Lion and the Emerald Bamboo Earth Dragon can't hold on for much longer, the steel-backed bear urged. All right then. The two kings of the Cloud Mist Ridge stood up, and after bowing to the golden bear tiger beast, they hurriedly followed the steel-backed bear out. A few moments later, the Steelfang Wolf returned and exclaimed, he seems to have brought in even more reinforcement. Blue Trunk Elephant, Crimson Flame Ape, Steelscale beast, and white-eared beast, follow me. Just who did Principal Zhong bring in here? School head Mo was confused by the situation before him. This. Looking around him, the golden bear tiger beast suddenly realized, to his surprise, that he was the only remaining member of the 10 indomitable kings in the cavern. Chapter 882. Tribute. Every single one of the 10 indomitable kings of the Cloud Mist Ridge had strength rivaling the 10 great master teachers of the Master Teacher Academy. Just what kind of reinforcements did school head Mo's student bring in to require the strength of 9 of them? Did he bring the other elders into the Cloud Mist Ridge? But that didn't make sense either. If so many enemies had invaded the heart of their base, the half-saint and nascent saint beasts patrolling the area should have already reported the matter to He. With eyes narrowed threateningly, the golden bear tiger beast glared at school head Momo Zhu. Just what in the world are you up to? I don't know either. I have been here all along. School head Mo was on the verge of bursting into tears. It was as if he was here to serve as a sidekick to the principal. He had no idea what the other party was up to. Unsure of whether school head Mo was putting on an act or not, the golden bear tiger beast threatened him once more. You don't know? You'd better not be trying to pull something. For my Cloud Mist Ridge to survive right under the nose of the Master Teacher Academy for so long, it definitely isn't as simple as you might think. You have your men scattered throughout Cloud Mist Ridge. Even if we do attempt to pull something, how can you possibly not know? School head Mo argued. Hearing those words, the golden bear tiger beast glared at school head Mo for a moment before eventually nodding slightly in agreement. This was exactly what had left him puzzled. If something had truly happened, the other kings would have surely informed him. For them to call for the other kings to go with them instead, that meant that the problem was still within their means to deal with. Forget it. As long as school head Mo remains my hostage, the Master Teacher Academy won't be able to take any drastic actions. As long as I have this card, I should be able to force them into compromising. The golden bear tiger beast reassessed his current situation, and feeling that he was still in a safe position, he heaved a sigh of relief. Standing up, he was just about to force school head Mo into accepting his terms once more when the Scarlet Flame Lion, the first king to leave, finally returned to the cavern. Following behind him was the steel-backed bear, tiger-head beast, steel-fang wolf. All 9 of the kings had returned together, and sandwiched between them was a young man with a lowered head. He was school head Mo's escaped student. The Scarlet Blaze Lion stepped forward and reported loudly, "Boss, we have managed to bring back this fellow. What happened that required all of you to head out?" The golden bear tiger beast asked doubtfully. "It's like this." The tiger-head beast stepped forward, pointed its steel claws at Zhongxian ferociously, and harumphed. "I don't know how that fellow did it, but he managed to find a few formidable master teachers to reinforce him, so we ended up fighting against them." "Master teachers?" The golden bear tiger beast frowned. The steel fang wolf stepped forward and said in agreement, "That's right. Who are those master teachers? Are they the 10 great master teachers of the Master Teacher Academy?" The golden bear tiger beast continued asking. "That doesn't seem to be the case. None of them look familiar to us. Why don't I take out their corpses to show you?" "Here they." The steel-backed bear said as he walked toward the golden bear tiger beast. At this point, the steel-backed bear was only 3 meters away from the golden bear tiger beast. Without finishing his words, he abruptly leaped forward with 3 other saint beasts to assault the golden bear tiger beast. Hong Long. The Scarlet Blaze Lion, tiger-head beast, steel-fang wolf, and steel-backed bear were considered the strongest saint beasts in Cloud Mist Ridge after the golden bear tiger beast. Their combined might was so great that it felt like it could split mountains and reverse rivers. Before the golden bear tiger beast could react, he was already struck squarely by 4 paws and claws. Peng! "What are you all doing?" the golden bear tiger bellowed furiously as his figure was sent retreating into the distance. It knocked through a couple of stalactites before eventually crashing into the wall of the cavern, and it spewed large mouthfuls of blood. The other saint beasts had been together with him for over 1,000 years, and he deeply trusted them. He never thought that they would suddenly make such a vicious move against him. In just a moment, the golden bear tiger beast had already sustained severe injuries. His innards were so shaken by the impact that it would be difficult for him to recover in the short term. Panting heavily, the golden bear tiger beast felt most of his strength sapping away from his body. With reddened eyes, he roared frenziedly, "Why? Tell me why, master." Ignoring the roars of the golden bear tiger beast, the scarlet blaze lion, steel-backed bear, steel-fang wolf, and tiger-head beast, having accomplished their mission, turned around and bowed to Zhongxian. Yuan chuckling softly, Zhongxian placed his hands behind his back and raised his head, revealing a faint smile on his lips. As he stepped forward with an entourage of saint beasts following behind him, it seemed as if he was a lofty emperor. Of the 10 indomitable kings of the Cloud Mist Ridge, 9 have already submitted to me. Golden bear tiger beast, you have 2 choices before you. You can either submit to me, or prepare to die. They have submitted to you? The golden bear tiger beast widened its eyes as it glanced at the other 9 kings in disbelief. They were all proud saint beasts. How could they submit to a mere human, and not to mention, an insignificant chrysalis realm cultivator? He wasn't the only one who was feeling frenzied by the situation. School head Mo also felt like he was losing his mind. He had thought that Principal Zhong was truly here to negotiate, and he had resigned himself to be cursed for this failure for generations to come. Who would have thought that the other party, in just a little more than 2 hours, would manage to tame 9 of the 10 indomitable kings? Furthermore, recalling how there was not a single beast who had come in to report the matter, the chances were that the half-saint and nascent saint beasts had become his tamed beasts as well. He knew that the new principal was extremely skilled at beast taming, having witnessed it back in the entrance examination on Liyuan Peak, but this power level was way off charts, way too overpower. If the other party were to continue taming beasts at this rate, would all of the saint beasts in the master-teacher continent become his tamed beasts and obey his commands? While school head Mo was in a daze, the Scarlet Blaze Lion and the others turned to their former boss, the strongest saint beast of the Cloud Mist Ridge, and attempted to persuade him. "Boss, you should just submit to him. Our master is a person of great capability. We will definitely achieve greater heights pursuing him. Indeed. For many years, we have successfully repelled all enemies, including the forces of the Master Teacher Academy, and maintained a tight grip over the Cloud Mist Ridge. But think about it, how different is this from being trapped in a cage? In any case, I have had enough. There is no point resisting it. You will be killed if you hesitate any longer. You want me to submit? Dream on." Seeing that all of his subordinates had betrayed him, the golden bear tiger beast shouted savagely, "Weren't you all curious about why such a huge supply of earth vein spirit essence has accumulated here, never running out despite so many spirit beasts and saint beasts absorbing it over the years? Let me tell you the reason today." With a furious roar, the golden bear tiger beast struggled to his feet and leaped into the dried-up lake before speaking in a respectful tone. "My great emperor, please grant me the power to eliminate these traitors of the beast tribe." This time, he was speaking not in the human language but the ancient beast language. "Emperor?" Hearing those words, Zhongxian frowned as an ominous premonition clutched his heart. From the very start, he had been wondering how something as rare as the earth vein spirit essence could gather in such great quantity in the Cloud Mist Ridge. Even considering the unique geographical terrain, it was near impossible for that to happen. And more importantly, it was unnatural for there to be so many saint beasts gathered here. Survival of the fittest. Resources were always in short supply, so the number of experts in a region was limited. It was truly confounding to see so many powerful beasts gathering on this land. At the same time, school head Mo's face also warped in astonishment. As a 6-star pinnacle beast tamer, even though he wasn't very fluent in the ancient beast language, he was still able to decipher bits and pieces of the golden bear tiger beast's words. It was apparent that the other party was trying to initiate some kind of ritual to summon a powerful being. If the other party succeeded, the tables could very well be turned on them. "Zhongsha." Anxious, school head Mo immediately turned to Zhongxian. Zhongxian raised his hand and said, "Calm down, let's just watch for now." This could very well concern the mystery behind the disappearance of Elder Wu Yangzi. After taming the Scarlet Blaze Lion and the others, he had questioned them about the matter concerning Wu Yangzi's disappearance 2,000 years ago. However, they had only risen to power 1,000 years ago, so they weren't too sure about that incident either. However, based on their description, it seemed like the golden bear tiger beast was the key to this mystery. This was precisely why he possessed unparalleled authority in the Cloud Mist Ridge, the number one figure of the innumerable beasts gathered here. Hong Long Long. Extremely high concentrated spiritual energy abruptly burst forth from the depths of the cavern. In that moment, it felt as if the sky was falling, and it left all present incapable of catching their breath. The lake that had stored the earth vein spirit essence previously seemed to have become an altar for the golden bear tiger beast to make an offering in order to summon an overwhelmingly powerful being here. What power! Feeling the powerful energy drifting in the air, School Head Mo's face paled. He couldn't help but retreat several steps as he clenched his jaws in pain. The pressure was simply too great, and it seemed to be crushing his soul directly. Despite being a Saint One Dan pinnacle expert, he still found himself unable to hold on for much longer. Zhongshe. If even someone of his prowess was unable to withstand this pressure, what would become of their principal? Alarmed, he quickly turned his gaze to Zhongxian, only to see the latter standing upright with his eyes gazing coldly upon the lake, as if he couldn't feel the pressure at all. School Head Mo's body jolted in astonishment. Even the Scarlet Blaze Lion and the other kings of the Cloud Mist Ridge were lying feebly on the ground under that immense pressure, so how was it possible for their principal to be completely fine? Hong Long Long. Before he could analyze what was going on, the spiritual energy in the air suddenly gathered to form an illusory, mist-like blue-horn dragon beast. Coiling in the air, its very presence seemed to exert immense pressure directly on one's soul. My descendant, why have you summoned me? A majestic voice boomed. The blue-horn dragon beast spoke in the ancient beast language as well, but its words felt heavy, seemingly carrying a quality that left one feeling as if one had traveled back in time. This is the most authentic ancient beast language. School Head Mo's body turned cold. It was possible for them to emulate the pronunciation of the ancient beast language, but it was impossible to bring out the same deep resonance as the ancient beasts of old. Just this intonation in itself could bring one the loyalty of many spirit beasts and saint beasts. Without a doubt, this blue-horn dragon beast was a legendary figure from the ancient era. Turning around, he saw the Scarlet Blaze Lion, Tiger-Head Beast, and the others trembling in fear, unable to bring forth the slightest intention to retaliate at all. This was a result of the inevitable suppression of bloodline among saint beasts. Turning his gaze back to Principal Zhong, he was just thinking about how he could shield the other party and send him out safely, when he saw the latter standing before the blue-horn dragon beast with a frown, seemingly in deep thought. The golden bear tiger beast kneeled to the ground and pleaded using the ancient beast language, "My emperor, I ask of you to grant me the power to eliminate these traitors. What can you offer me?" The illusory figure above asked impassively. "I can offer you the fresh blood of this 6-star pinnacle master teacher of the Master Teacher Academy, the head of the Beast Tamer School," the golden bear tiger beast replied respectfully. "A 6-star pinnacle master teacher?" The figure above shook his head and replied, "That is not enough." The golden bear tiger beast pointed to Zhongxian and said, "And his student as well." However, thinking that it was unlikely to suffice as well, he added, "With my newfound power, I will immediately dispatch my army to slaughter more master teachers to offer them to you." "Granted. You should know the consequences if you renege on your promise." Hong Long. With the words of the illusory figure above, overwhelming strength abruptly fell and surged into the body of the golden bear tiger beast, and its withered aura began to recover. Chapter 883. The powerful golden bear tiger beast. School Head Mo's face blanched. "Zhongshe, you must leave right now. The golden bear tiger beast is having his strength forcefully raised, and he will gain great power in the short term. If you don't leave right now, you will be in danger." Despite the severe side effects afterward, such forceful infusion of energy could heal the golden bear tiger beast's wounds and even bring his cultivation up another level. Once this infusion was complete, none of those present would be a match for him. Before School Head Mo could even finish his words, the golden bear tiger beast's strength already recovered to Saint Realm 1 Dan, and with incredible momentum, he achieved a breakthrough and reached Spiritual Perception Realm shortly afterward. Spiritual Perception Realm Primary Stage, intermediate stage, advanced stage. His cultivation sped forward at an unbelievable pace. Faced with such a sight, those kings who had pledged loyalty to Zhongxian earlier began trembling in fright. Over the years, they had learned that the golden bear tiger beast was hiding some powerful means up his sleeves, but they didn't think that it would be so fearsome. If they had known that the golden bear tiger beast was capable of this, they never would have dared to betray him. Having pledged allegiance to the wrong faction, they were all doomed to die now. Catcher. With another loud buzz, the golden bear tiger beast's cultivation achieved another breakthrough, reaching Saint Realm 3 Dan before gradually coming to a halt. Remember your promise. The illusory figure warned sharply before gradually dissipating into nothingness. Ha ha ha, you must not have seen this coming when you betrayed me. Today, you all shall learn the consequence of turning your back on me. Feeling the magnificent power coursing through his body, the golden bear tiger beast swiped his paw down with a roar, sealing the entrance to the cavern. No one could escape anymore. He had always been the emperor of the Cloud Mist Ridge, and no one had dared to disobey his orders before. Yet, in a single day, not only had he found his subordinates betraying him all at once, he had even been severely injured by them. The rage that he felt within was enough to drive him mad. Hong long long. As the might of a Saint Realm 3 Dan expert permeated the area, the entire cavern began creaking under the pressure, seemingly on the verge of collapse. Master! In the face of the golden bear tiger beast's absolute strength, the Scarlet Blaze Lion and the others trembled in fear, and with pale faces, they turned to Zhongxian, hoping to find a chance of survival. At Saint Realm 3 Dan, embryonic soul realm, one's Dantian would be forged into an origin soul, amplifying the power one could wield many times over. Even if the 9 of them were to gather their strength to fight against him, they still wouldn't be a match at all. If a battle were to truly occur, it wouldn't be long before they breathed their last. At this moment, they could only bank their hopes on the master they had acknowledged just a while ago and pray that he would be able to create a miracle once more. Moju, I gave you a chance earlier, but you refused to budge. It's too late now. Not only will you die, Hongyuan City and the Master Teacher Academy will pay the price for your foolishness as well. They shall be devastated by the army of aerial spirit beasts, and history will remember you as the sinner who caused it all. The golden bear tiger beast roared savagely. Hong long. With a deafening cry, the golden bear tiger beast charged at School Head Mo. The golden bear tiger beast raised his paws, and a massive palm print appeared in the air and fell violently upon the latter. 13 swords of the red leaf. Without any hesitation, School Head Mo drew his sword once more and utilized his strongest technique to retaliate. As soon as the sword came into contact with the red leaf aftershadows immediately dissipated, and with a loud catcher, the sword snapped into innumerable pieces and scattered all over the ground. Pu. School Head Mo was sent flying before knocking onto the wall of the cavern. Blood spewed out of his mouth frenziedly, and his face turned as pale as a sheet of paper. When he'd used that same sword art earlier, he had at least been able to force the golden bear tiger beast back by a single step. However, after the other party's surge in strength, he couldn't even stop a casual blow from the beast. The disparity in their strength was truly despairing. Even if Senior Byzantium Alios and Senior Golden Origin Cauldron were to collaborate against him, they still wouldn't be a match for him. Zhongsha, hurry up and leave, School Head Mo urged anxiously. It wouldn't matter if he were to die here, but nothing could be allowed to happen to the principal. Otherwise, the division within the academy would never be breached, and it would fall into chaos once more. The golden bear tiger beast turned to Zhongxian and sneered, "Leave? Ha ha ha, after inducing so many of my subordinates to betray me, do you think that I will allow you to leave?" Leaping forward, the golden bear tiger beast raised his paw and struck down forcefully. "Be careful," School Head Mo exclaimed anxiously. Even he was unable to stand against the assault of the golden bear tiger beast, let alone the transcendent mortal 9 Dan Principal Zhong. Enduring the severe wounds he was afflicted with, School Head Mo hurriedly got to his feet to rush forward and take the blow for Zhongxian, but before he could move, an immense pressure abruptly crushed down on his body, nearly shattering it. The enemy was simply too powerful. Just his aura was already sufficient to render him nearly powerless. "No need to get hasty, you will be next." No one will be getting away today. Sneering coldly, the golden bear tiger beast pushed his palm down toward Zhongxian, and Jia. The ground creaked loudly under the pressure of the palm. Zhongsha! School head Mo exclaimed in despair. He had never thought that it would eventually end like this. If he had known, he never would have agreed to let Zhongxian come with him. Getting away? Who says that I intend to escape? Just when everyone thought that Zhongxian would surely die, a nonchalant voice suddenly sounded in the air. Following which, an overwhelming killing intent suddenly burst forth from behind Zhongsha and swept through everything in its path like a hurricane. Hong Long. Under the burst of killing intent, the offense against Zhongxian was neutralized, and before the arrogant golden bear tiger beast could realize what was going on, his head suddenly bent backward, and his tongue fell out from his mouth as he plummeted from the sky, crashing head first to the ground. A massive depression appeared in his wake. Ding ding, destroy him, Zhongxian instructed. The golden origin cauldron immediately charged forward to slam into the golden bear tiger beast. Peng! As the duo collided, a resounding chime reminiscent of a bell echoed, and a spurt of blood mixed with a few teeth spewed out of the golden bear tiger beast's mouth. The situation he suddenly found himself faced with left him dumbfounded. He had thought that after reaching Saint 3 Dan with the infusion of power from his emperor, he would be able to slaughter everyone present and shake the Master Teacher Academy to the core. Who could have known that, before he could even display the full extent of his prowess, he would be abruptly knocked out of the sky by an aura that jolted his soul? Furthermore, what was with the sudden appearance of this Saint-tier artifact? He might possess greater strength than the other party, but Saint-tier artifacts, especially a cauldron like the one before him, were known to possess nigh-invincible defense. How was he supposed to defeat the other party? Peng! Just as the golden bear tiger beast was overwhelmed by the turn of events, the golden origin cauldron suddenly charged over with a roar and smashed into his head once more. A deafening blast reminiscent of the heaven and earth collapsing sounded, and the sight before the golden bear tiger beast abruptly turned dark. His massive body tumbled backward with astounding momentum, leaving a deep gorge in his path. By the time he knocked into the cavern wall, his body was already cloaked in a layer of dust and bits of granite. This, even the powered-up golden bear tiger beast, is no match for the Saint-tier artifact. The scarlet blaze lion, tiger-head beast, and the other kings gulped down a mouthful of saliva. From the looks of it, it seemed like the golden origin cauldron had truly gone easy on them back when they had fought with it. Otherwise, with just a body slam, their bodies might have been crushed to bits. Those saint beasts who had just regretted pledging allegiance to Zhongxian couldn't help but shudder in astonishment. It was fortunate that they hadn't said it out loud, or they might just have been the next ones to follow the golden bear tiger beast. Ha ha ha, this is truly exhilarating. It has been long since I was last able to fight like that. Little beast, just watch how Grandpa Ding turns into cinders today. The golden origin cauldron yelled excitedly as it slammed into the dying golden bear tiger beast again and again. The might of the golden origin cauldron was so great that ordinary Saint Realm experts couldn't hope to withstand it. Only against this fellow would it be able to use its full strength. This. School head Mo felt his head spinning as he stared at the sight with slackened jaws. He had thought that they would all lose their lives, but this reversal had come far too quickly. The golden origin cauldron was powerful, there was no doubt about that, but ultimately, it was only a Saint-tier artifact. Without anyone wielding it, it was difficult to bring out the full extent of its power. Thus, school head Mo didn't think that it would be able to defeat the golden bear tiger beast. What had truly reversed the tides of the battle was the fearsome killing intent that had burst forth from behind Zhongsha earlier. Where did it come from? Had the golden origin cauldron charged forth without that killing intent incapacitating the golden bear tiger beast beforehand, it would have surely been knocked back, and a one-sided pummeling wouldn't be happening now either. School head Mo swiftly turned his gaze to Principal Zhong, only to see the latter with a nonchalant expression on his face. It was as if he knew that this matter would end in such a manner, and there was not the slightest trace of surprise or fear on his face. And in truth, this matter was truly nothing to Zhongxian at all. The golden bear tiger beast had gained massive power from the emperor he spoke of, reaching Saint Realm 3 Dan, But Zhongxian's trump cards didn't consist of just the Byzantium Alios beast and the Golden Origin Cauldron. There was the even more powerful Vicious as well. After consuming a third of Kong Shi's writings on the scroll, he had grown significantly more powerful than before. Putting aside a mere Saint Realm 3 Dan primary stage cultivator, a surge of Zhenqi could easily knock down even a Saint Realm 4 Dan expert from the sky and incapacitate him. Before a mere golden bear tiger beast, he wouldn't even bat an eyelid. Peng 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 peng. The Golden Origin Cauldron continued to ram itself into the golden bear tiger beast, and before long, he was already bruised all over. His breathing was so faint that it seemed as if he would just pass away at any moment. All right, that's enough. Seeing the Golden Origin Cauldron getting more and more excited from the battle, Zhongxian hurriedly stood forward to stop it. Master, he tried to kill you earlier. Let me pummel him to death to show him the consequences of baring his fangs at you. The Golden Origin Cauldron was reluctant to stop in the midst of his fun. It wasn't easy for it to find someone who was so tolerant to its beating, so it should at least have its fair share of fun with him. Leave him alive for now, I have some things to ask him, said Zhongxian. There were still many mysteries surrounding this matter, such as the Emperor whom the other party had summoned earlier and the various bizarre happenings on Cloud Mist Ridge. If the golden bear tiger beast was killed, they would lose a valuable source of information. Hearing those words, the Golden Origin Cauldron could only stop with a regretful look on its face. Zhongxian walked up to the golden bear tiger beast, and upon taking a closer look at its current state, his lips couldn't help but twitch. It must be said that the Golden Origin Cauldron really hadn't held back. It had rammed its body at the golden bear tiger beast's head forcefully, again and again, knocking away every hint of the other party's former glory as a king of the Cloud Mist Ridge. As a result, the other party's massive head was filled with creases, similar to those of a shriveled meat bun. If he hadn't stopped the Golden Origin Cauldron in time, the other party would definitely have lost his life. Flicking his wrist, Zhongxian took out a bit of earth vein spirit essence and fed it to the golden bear tiger beast, restoring a little bit of his vitality. Afterward, he gazed down at the other party coldly and said, "Submit to me, or die." As long as the other party submitted to him, he should be able to acquire all of the intelligence he needed. Otherwise, even if he were to force the other party to speak, there was no way of telling whether the information acquired was credible or not. You want me to submit to you? Dream on. My life belongs to my emperor, and if you dare to kill me, my emperor will surely exact vengeance for me, the golden bear tiger beast roared furiously. Your emperor? Ha, you expect an incomplete soul to exact vengeance for you? Zhongxian sneered. Zhongxian had assessed the emperor that the golden bear tiger beast spoke of with his eye of insight when it was summoned earlier, and he was certain that it was only a soul. The reason the soul was able to raise the golden bear tiger beast's cultivation so swiftly was probably due to some kind of secret art it possessed. So far, Zhongxian only had the cultivation techniques for soul oracles from transcendent mortal 1 Dan to 9 Dan. On the other hand, considering how the emperor was able to raise the golden bear tiger beast's cultivation to Saint Realm 3 Dan in just a short period of time, it should at least be at Saint Realm 4 Dan or 5 Dan. Considering its strength, even if it was a mere incomplete soul now, it would still be extremely beneficial to Zhongxian if he could capture it. Chapter 884, Zhongxian's Change an Incomplete Soul. My emperor is a deity, a saint beast from an ancient era. For you to have plotted against the Cloud Mist Ridge, you have already infringed on his authority. There is no doubt that he will extract your soul and tear your body into pieces to exact vengeance for me, the golden bear tiger beast howled in rage. It seemed that he was extremely loyal to the so-called emperor, revering the other party even. He had already placed the other party on a divine pedestal in his mind, so he couldn't bring himself to believe that the other party would only be a mere soul. On the other hand, Zhongxian shook his head. If the so-called emperor was truly that powerful, it wouldn't have been stuck on the Cloud Mist Ridge, dependent on the golden bear tiger beast's tributes. If the emperor you spoke of is as incredible as you say, don't you think that it would have appeared after seeing the state you are in? Zhongxian replied with a wry smile. My emperor will never abandon me. You will be regretting your actions against me very soon, the golden bear tiger beast yowled frenziedly. But despite the words it spoke, uncertainty had already crept into his gaze. His confidence had wavered. He knew that his relationship with his emperor was one built on mutual profit. He would offer tributes to the latter, and the latter would grant him power or the earth-vein spirit essence. Even if he was pummeled to death, all his emperor had to do was find another agent to work for him instead. There was no need for the other party to save him, or rather, if the other party had any intentions of saving him, the other party wouldn't have watched as the massive cauldron pummeled him viciously. Noticing the hint of apprehension in the depths of the golden bear-tiger beast's eyes, Zhongxian knew that his words had worked. Thus, infusing his words with the impartation of heaven's will, he said, "I heard earlier that you were going to offer school head Mo and me to your emperor. Is this what you have done with the many master teachers before us?" Earlier, when the golden bear-tiger beast negotiated with his emperor and offered the lives of school head Mo, Zhongxian, and countless other master teachers as tribute, the latter had agreed immediately. The deal had gone so smoothly that it felt like they had conducted the same trade innumerable times over the years, and they had already come to a mutual understanding of the needs of each other. Furthermore, recalling the many corpses he had seen in the surroundings, it wasn't too difficult to put the story together. Considering the huge implications of this matter, the golden bear-tiger beast couldn't possibly allow the other saint beasts to learn of this matter as well, so he had to get the information out of the beast in question. Perhaps, the full mystery might be unraveled with this. Nonsense. The golden bear-tiger beast immediately shook his head. However, halfway through his words, the figure of the young man before him suddenly seemed to tower above him, reminiscent of an inviolable deity of the heavens. He desired deeply to deny the matter, but his mind wouldn't listen to him. Unable to control himself, he began confessing, "That's right. My emperor would devour the blood and flesh of those master teachers, and in exchange for that, he would bestow us with the earth-vein spirit essence, granting us an opportunity to achieve a breakthrough in our cultivation." Previously, Zhongxian's impartation of heaven's will had only been effective on those who had the blood of a human running through their veins, which resulted in it being ineffective against beasts. However, after comprehending the heart of a teacher, the effects of his impartation of heaven's will had been extended to beasts as well, allowing him to beguile even a saint beast like the golden bear-tiger beast easily. Devour the blood and flesh of master teachers. School head Mo clenched his trembling fists in agitation. He had thought that the saint beasts were just an impending threat that the Master Teacher Academy would have to deal with soon, but who would have thought that they had been committing such atrocities over the years? If he had learned of this earlier, he would surely have convinced the Master Teacher Academy to send an army up to utterly destroy the Cloud Mist Ridge long ago. If this had been going on over a span of more than 1,000 years, he could hardly imagine how many master teachers had died brutally due to the other party. Zhongxian's complexion had darkened as well, but he continued to interrogate the other party. "Are those white bones in the cavern the corpses of the deceased master teachers?" "That's right. They are the master teachers who dared to brazenly barge into my Cloud Mist Ridge over the years. I offered their blood and flesh to my emperor, and all that is left of them is the pile of bones here. In exchange, my emperor has used his divine strength to alter the geography of the Cloud Mist Ridge, turning it into a natural formation to gather earth-vein spirit essence. It is precisely this that has allowed the beasts of the Cloud Mist Ridge to grow rapidly stronger over the years," the golden bear-tiger beast explained proudly. He dared not kill master teachers openly, but each year, there were still a substantial number of master teachers who went missing due to undertaking dangerous missions or various miscellaneous reasons each year. As such, he was still able to tribute dozens or even several hundred master teachers each year without drawing much attention. Suppressing his fury, Zhongxian continued asking, "Since your emperor is consuming the blood and flesh of master teachers, it is surely not an ordinary soul. Where is he now?" For a soul to live, it had to be nourished by a body. Otherwise, it would be extremely vulnerable by the 5 soul declines, resulting in it getting weaker and weaker over time. The main reason Mo Hunsheng was able to survive several 10,000 years was due to the unique nature of the 9 Hearts Lotus. If not for that god artifact, his soul would have long dissipated as well. To be able to survive the ancient era and feed on the blood and flesh of master teachers, the so-called emperor was definitely not an ordinary soul. That I am not too sure where my emperor is either. I only know that he only appears if I summon him here, the golden bear tiger beast replied. Summon him here? Zhong Xian frowned. Activating the Eye of Insight, he began scanning the surroundings. The previous time he was here, he had taken a look as well, and he hadn't noticed anything at all. But if the so-called emperor would only appear when summoned here, the chances were that there was something amiss here. Even through the Eye of Insight, Zhong Xian only saw an ordinary cavern. There didn't seem to be anything out of place in the surroundings. Wait. That fellow appeared here not long ago, so perhaps I might be able to trace his aura. Suddenly recalling this matter, Zhong Xian's eyes lit up. Due to the intangible and elusive nature of souls, it was extremely difficult to find the trail of a soul. However, as one who possessed the Eye of Insight, he should still be able to find some traces if he looked closely. Focusing his sight on the area where the so-called emperor had appeared earlier, lines of insight began gathering in Zhong Xian's eyes, and finally, an extremely faint trail could be seen leading into the depths of the cavern. Ding ding, I will leave this fellow to you. Having finished his interrogation and uncovered the trail to his next target, Zhong Xian issued his instructions to the Golden Origin Cauldron before taking huge strides into the depths of the cavern. The Golden Bear Tiger tribe had the blood of far too many master teachers on his hands. That was beyond Zhong Xian's bottom line, and he had no intention of sparing him. You are leaving him to me. Great, that's exactly what I like. Cheering in excitement, the Golden Origin Cauldron immediately leaped toward the Golden Bear Tiger beast. What are you going to do? Hearing the glee in the Saint Artifact's voice, the Golden Bear Tiger beast's body immediately stiffened in fear. Zhongshe, I will acknowledge you as my master. Please, spare me. Spar H. Before he could finish his words, a cry of agony had already escaped from his mouth. A certain massive cauldron had descended right onto its face, and raging flames burst from it, producing a sizzling sound in contact with the other party's skin. Soon, a fragrant aroma drifted within the cavern. Gudong. The Scarlet Blaze Lion, Steel-backed Bear, and the others gulped before the sight. The heck? That monster. It was fortunate that they had submitted, or else they could have been in the Golden Bear Tiger beast's position. This particular emotion was intensified as they stared at the Golden Bear Tiger beast's face. The face that they had respected and feared for many years had distorted into a hideous shape indescribable using words. Zhongshe. Paying no heed to the Golden Origin Cauldron, which was having the time of its life, School Head Mo hurriedly rushed forward to catch up with Zhong Xian. After walking up to Principal Zhong, he hurriedly advised telepathically that Emperor seems to be an extremely powerful being. Since we have managed to subdue the forces of the Cloud Mist Ridge, I don't think that Emperor will do anything for the time being. Why don't we just leave this matter for the headquarters to deal with? That so-called Emperor was able to heal a severely wounded Saint Realm 1 Dan Pinnacle beast fully and raise his cultivation to 3 Dan on top of that. Such prowess was unimaginable to him. To pursue such an enemy, and not even bringing senior Golden Origin Cauldron at that, he feared that Principal Zhong would face grave danger. This matter was already beyond their scope of power, so it was best to leave it to the higher-ranked master teachers of the headquarters. That Emperor will definitely escape after seeing that his loyal subordinate has perished. It will take at least around half a month for the personnel of the headquarters to arrive, and by then, it will already be too late. Zhong Xian shook his head. That fellow was an incomplete soul, which was extremely useful to him, so how could he hand such a treasure over to anyone else? If the personnel from the headquarters were to arrive, it would be impossible for him to take the soul for himself, and all he would receive were a few words of commendation. Since that was the case, he would have to take matters into his own hands. This. School Head Mo hesitated for a moment before replying, since that's the case, allow me to call Musha and the other elders here too. It should be safer that way. There's no need for that. You should stay here to manage the situation. I will go in to take a look. Don't worry, even if I am no match for the other party, I still do have some means up my sleeves to at least escape safely, Zhong Xian reassured. That Emperor was at least a Saint Realm 5 Dan expert, an extremely dangerous being to go against. One reason that he dared to pursue the other party was because he had Vicious in hand, but more importantly, It was because he still had a golden page in his library of Heaven's Path. It was formed when he took school head Jiang Qingqin in as his student back then. No matter how powerful that emperor may be, could he be more powerful than the heavens itself? Even Vicious was forced to kneel before it, let alone an incomplete soul. Of course, he couldn't mention this matter to anyone else. Even though he could tell that school head Mo earnestly cared for him, and he trusted the latter as well, this matter was simply too important for him to reveal to anyone. Zhongshe. Seeing that Zhongxian insisted on entering, school head Mo cut into his path to stop him. Enough. Don't worry, I will be fine. Have the Scarlet Blaze Lion and the other kings issue an order for all of the battling spirit beasts to return to Cloud Mist Ridge. After that, inform school head Zhao that the negotiations were a success, and have him send the students involved in the battle to rest. After such a long battle, they must be exhausted. Zhongxian instructed with a wave of his hand. School head Mo was still hesitant, but he eventually relented and nodded. This. All right. Sighing deeply, Zhongxian flicked his wrist and took out a pile of high-tier spirit stones. Here are 200 high-tier spirit stones. Please compile a list of the students who have lost their lives in this battle and use this money to compensate their families. There were exactly 200 of them in there. As much as he loved money, there were some things that just had to be done. Ultimately, the trigger to the beast stampede was his theft of the Cloud Mist Ridge's Earth Vein spirit essence, so it was only right for him to compensate the victims of the conflict. He didn't have the power to raise the dead, but if his money could aid the family members of the victims and allow them to lead better lives, perhaps it would at least allow the souls of the victims to rest in peace. Seeing Zhongxian take out so many high-tier spirit stones all of the sudden, school head Mo was shocked. He hurriedly waved his hands to reject it. This. Zhongshe, our academy will fork out the expenses to compensate the students. How can we allow you to pay out of your own pocket? Even if Zhongxian wanted to provide some form of aid to the family members of the deceased students, he need not pay out of his pocket. The Master Teacher Academy and the Master Teacher Pavilion had their own measures for that. Those master teachers had died while protecting the populace of Hongyuan City, so there was no way the Master Teacher Pavilion would allow their sacrifice to go unrecognized. Take it. Zhongxian insisted with a displeased frown. This is from me. It has nothing to do with the academy. All right. Seeing the determination in Zhongxian's eyes, school head Mo could feel the earnest sincerity in his gesture, so he couldn't bring himself to turn the latter down anymore. At the same time, his admiration for the latter deepened once more. Only such an upright and selfless person would be qualified to become their principal. They had indeed made the correct decision. I must learn from Principal Zhong's example and strive to lead an upright and altruistic life, school head Mo vowed within. All right, you should hurry along now. I will be fine here, so rest assured. After leaving behind those instructions, Zhongxian turned around and followed the barely visible trail he saw with his eye of insight into the depths of the cavern. Chapter 885, A Single Finger. Soon, Zhongxian arrived at a place filled with white bones and rusty armor. Taking a close look at those bones, there were some faint engravings on them, reminiscent of those that the predecessors in the Teacher Acknowledgement Hall would leave on those whom they had recognized. In other words, these bones belonged to master teachers. Every single master teacher was a wealth to humanity. Looking at the sheer number of bones accumulated here, Zhongxian couldn't help but tremble in agitation. Every single bone here reflected the sin of the golden bear tiger beast. Even if he were to die 1,000 times over, that still would be insufficient to absolve him of what he had done. You are all heroes who have sacrificed yourself for mankind. I can't allow your bones to be left lying exposed here. Zhongxian thought grimly. Thus, he pushed his hand on empty ground not too far away, and a massive hole immediately emerged. After which, with a surge of his zhenqi, he swept all of the bones in the area into it. After many years, the bones had already worn down and shattered into innumerable pieces, making it impossible to differentiate one person from another. As such, he could only bury them together. As comrades in arms, it should be acceptable for them to be buried alongside one another in death. At least, this was all he could do at the moment. After burying them, Zhongxian continued to follow the trail with his eye of insight. The trail that the emperor had left behind disappeared beneath a certain area covered by bones earlier. Is it beneath the ground? It was a completely flat ground, and touching the area, it didn't seem like there were any mechanisms or formations around. He had followed the other party's trail using his eye of insight, so there shouldn't be any problem with the location. How could the soul have vanished into thin air? Could it be? All of a sudden, a thought emerged in Zhongxian's mind. He flicked his wrist, and a spirit beast soon appeared before him. Myriad Anthive Queen, check if there is a folded space in the area. Folded space concerned the laws of space, which Zhongxian was unable to comprehend due to the limits of his cultivation. However, the Myriad Anthive Queen possessed exceptional aptitude in spatial manipulation, so it should be able to easily discern the presence of a folded space. The Myriad Anthive Queen nodded and began sniffing around, and before long, it stood up. Master, there is indeed a folded space here. However, it doesn't seem to be too large. Do you want to enter to take a look? As I expected. Zhongxian's eyes lit up. Since there were no mechanisms or anything of that sort in the area, the chances were that the soul had hidden itself in a folded space. Of course, I have to enter to take a look, Zhongxian replied without any hesitation. His goal here was to find and capture the emperor that the golden bear tiger beast had spoken of. He couldn't give up just because the other party was hidden in a folded space. However, given that a Saint 5 Dan expert was hiding inside, it would be dangerous for the transcendent mortal 9 Dan Anthive Myriad Queen to enter. Thus, after some consideration, Zhongxian raised his gaze and said, "It will be unsafe for you to enter the folded space. Open the entrance for me. I will enter myself." Without spatial manipulation capability, it was impossible for one to enter a folded space even if one were to discover one. Take, for example, the folded space back at the Saint Ascension platform. Had Zhongxian been unable to find the flaws in the inscriptions and won Kongsha's acknowledgement, he would not have been able to enter it even if he had shattered the cliff face and managed to find it somehow. It was the same for this as well. However, given the Myriad Anthive Queen's aptitude for spatial manipulation, it was highly likely that it would possess some kind of method to enter folded spaces. Alright, I will open the entrance right now. You should be able to get into the folded space just by stepping in, the Myriad Anthive Queen replied with a nod. After which, it began sniffing the area before abruptly grabbing onto something with its hands and ripping it apart. Sila. A void around the size of a human appeared before Zhongxian's eyes. Taking a deep breath, Zhongxian flicked his wrist and took out a book. After instructing Vicious to guard him well, he stepped into the void. There was no vertigo or anything. As soon as Zhongxian stepped through the void, he was able to see everything on the other side clearly. It was indeed not a very large space, consisting of only a diameter of around 8 meters, considerably smaller than the one in the Saint Ascension platform. Scanning the room, he didn't see the blue horn dragon beast that had appeared previously, but there was a peculiar round altar, around the height of a human and a diameter of half a meter large. Unlike normal altars though, it had nothing on it. After taking a thorough look around the room and finding nothing, Zhongxian frowned doubtfully. His eye of insight wouldn't lie. The emperor had definitely come into this folded space, but why wasn't there anything here? Not even a soul could escape the discerning gaze of the eye of insight, not to mention, he was also a soul oracle as well. If the blue horn dragon beast was truly in here, it shouldn't have been able to hide from him. Just as Zhongxian was about to conduct another thorough check, a shrill shriek suddenly sounded in the room, as if something was rushing right toward him. Before he could react, an immense might was already right behind him. Wang. The moment that Zhongxian was about to be struck, a light barrier suddenly appeared around him. It was the aerial strike amulet, which he had received from Yu Cheng back in the entrance examination. The aerial strike amulet could deflect an attack with the full power of a Saint Realm 1 Dan infused into it, and for safety, Zhongxian had always kept it on him instead of his storage ring. In the face of grave danger, he immediately activated it. Catcher. With a sharp echo, the aerial strike amulet shattered, not even stopping the attack for half a breath. That rampaging might rushed forth and struck Zhongxian squarely on his back, and as if hit by a train, his figure was immediately sent flying. Peng! He crashed heavily onto the wall behind, creating a huge hole behind him. Pu! A large mouthful of blood spurted forth. Even with the aerial strike amulet protecting him and cushioning the blow, Zhongxian still ended up suffering severe injuries. He quickly drove his Heaven's Path Zhenqi to heal his injuries as he turned around to look at the origin of the assault. There was no one in sight, and the soul of the blue-horn dragon beast was nowhere to be seen either. There was only a withered finger floating in the air. The attack he had just suffered probably came from this finger. A single finger actually managed to crush the aerial strike amulet and injure me severely. Zhongxian narrowed his eyes in astonishment. He couldn't sense how powerful the finger was, but to be able to injure him so easily, it was definitely a terrifying existence. Stabilizing his breathing, Zhongxian asked, "Are you the emperor that the golden bear-tiger beast spoke of? To be able to track me down to here, you do possess some capability." A thought from the finger reached his mind, and the language used was the ancient beast language. Judging from the voice, it seemed to be the blue-horn dragon beast from before. To think that the soul of a great blue-horn dragon beast would be living off a finger, Zhongxian remarked coldly in response. Souls wouldn't age, but they couldn't survive by themselves either. Zhongxian had been wondering how the blue-horn dragon beast had been able to live through the ages, and looking at it now, it seemed that the other party had only managed to survive for so long by hiding within the finger. This was similar to how Mo Hunsheng managed to survive in the Nine Hearts Lotus. As long as a soul could find an excellent container, it could survive for a very long time. It was for certain that the finger wasn't just an ordinary finger, but ultimately, it still wasn't a living body with complete organs. Thus, in order to sustain its life force, it had to absorb the vitality contained within flesh and blood. Perhaps, this was the reason the blue-horn dragon beast had made the latter offer the bodies of master teachers to him as tributes. Master teachers tended to possess purer zhenqi, which resulted in the vitality within their flesh and blood being far richer than ordinary cultivators. In a sense, they could be considered the ideal tonic for the finger. Seeing Zhongxian exposing its origin so easily, the finger harumphed coldly. "You do have a pair of sharp eyes. To have such insight at your age, it seems like you aren't just an ordinary student. You probably aren't the student of that fellow out there either." "Indeed, I am not school head Mo's student," Zhongxian replied. "To be able to tame 9 of the 10 kings of the Cloud Mist Ridge, you are indeed a capable man. You know, I am really glad that you came here. I simply love devouring talented master teachers like you. With you, I should be able to fill the vitality of this finger to the brim once more and live for another 50 years. The finger chuckled eerily. For a moment, Zhongxian felt as if a pair of greedy eyes were staring at him. Live for another 50 years. Zhongxian frowned. What is this finger for it to allow you to escape senescence decline? Of the 5 soul declines, the one that had left most soul oracles despairing was the senescence decline. The senescence decline dictated that as time ticked, even if a soul was protected by a powerful body, its soul energy would still continue to dissipate. As such, not even soul oracles could live on for an eternity. Trapped in the 9 Hearts Lotus, Mo Hunsheng had been isolated from the world. But even so, his soul energy still continued to dissipate over the years, and by the time he was released, he possessed less than a tenth of his original cultivation of transcendent mortal 9 Dan Pinnacle. Yet, this fellow had been able to live for so long just by hiding within a finger. There was truly something eerie about the finger. "You know about senescence decline?" the finger asked in astonishment. There were many who knew about the existence of soul oracles, but very few had ever heard of the 5 soul declines. The 5 soul declines contained the weaknesses of the soul oracles, so they had guarded this secret tightly, unwilling to allow any outsider to learn of it. For this fellow to be aware of it as well, could he be a soul oracle too? "Of course I do. On top of that, I also know that you have not inherited the heritage of the soul oracles. Even though you are able to survive in the form of a soul, you are just a parasite leeching off the finger, not the possessor of it," Zhongxian responded. Had the other party not attacked him, he would have been unable to gather any details on the other party via the Library of Heaven's Path. In a sense, it was fortunate that the other party had assaulted him, allowing him to compile a book and learn more about the enemy he was going to face. Zhongxian's initial thought had been that the blue horn dragon beast had inherited the soul oracle heritage, thus allowing him to survive through many eras. However, after taking a look at the book, he realized that he had been mistaken. The other party had only bound his soul to the finger using a special method, and through consuming the vitality of master teachers via the finger, he was able to sustain his existence. This had nothing to do with the soul arts of the soul oracles at all. However, to be able to sustain a soul for so long, this finger was definitely no ordinary artifact. However, it was a pity that the blue horn dragon beast could only be considered to be in coexistence with the finger, meaning that they were still two separate entities, and the one who had attacked earlier was only the soul, so there was no information reflected on the finger in the library of Heaven's Path at all. Otherwise, he would have just ended it straight with a smack of his book instead of wasting words on the other party. The finger was astonished for a moment before bursting into a cold chuckle. I never expected a young lad like you to be able to see through me so easily. Despite your young age, you are rather knowledgeable. However, the more that this is the case, the more I can't spare you. I might still have thought twice if you hadn't come into my folded space, but since you are here now, don't even dream about leaving here alive. Wang. The next moment, an overwhelming aura burst forth from the finger. The illusory blue horn dragon beast that Zhongxian had seen earlier in the cavern swiftly emerged from the finger. Its eyes were filled with killing intent, seemingly determined to devour the young man before it. We were still speaking properly a moment ago, so why do you want to eat me all of a sudden? And, do you think that you will be able to succeed? Seeing that the blue horn dragon beast was going to make its move, Zhongxian grasped the Book of Heaven's Path in his hands tightly, ready to throw the golden page at any moment. However, at that moment, Vicious' voice suddenly sounded. Leave that fellow to me. Leave him to you. Based on what he knew of Vicious, the latter was never one to take on a job actively. Why would he suddenly step up to this task? Zhongxian's query was answered very soon. It's because, that finger over there is mine. Chapter 886. I am also Vicious yours. Zhongxian was stunned. According to what Vicious had told him previously, in the battle against Kongsha back then, he had been completely obliterated except for a droplet of blood, and after several dozen millenniums of rest, the droplet of blood finally grew to become a heart. In other words, there should be no other parts of Vicious remaining after the battle, so why would its finger suddenly appear out of nowhere? Aware of the nuances behind Zhongxian's words, Vicious replied, I'm not too sure what is going on either. I am still missing many parts of my memories. However, I am certain that is my finger. That fellow is making use of my body part. As a former powerhouse of the Master Teacher continent who was capable of reviving himself with just a droplet of blood, even though he had lost most of his memories, he could still recognize his body parts easily. This finger was originally just the phalanges one of a finger, but after the blue horn dragon beast leached onto it and devoured the vitality of Master Teachers, it began to recover its blood and flesh. You are intending to snatch it back? Zhongxian asked with a frown. Of course. Vicious' heart began beating rapidly, and an overwhelming killing intent immediately surged forth from it, directed toward the finger floating in the air. What? The blue horn dragon beast's soul, who had just left the finger for a moment, immediately felt the killing intent and began trembling in fear. With a piercing scream, it swiftly dived back into the finger while shouting, Vicious, save me, save me. Hong Long. Another powerful killing intent spilled forth from the finger, clashing with that from the heart. As the two auras collided, the folded space began shaking intensely, seemingly on the verge of bursting apart under the pressure. An incredibly powerful voice, which exerted a crushing pressure, sounded from the finger. Who are you? Under the immense pressure, Zhongxian was forced to retreat all the way to the corner of the folded space. At this moment, his eyes were widened in astonishment. He could clearly feel the intent from the finger, and to his shock, it was identical to that of the heart sealed in the Book of Heaven's Path. Who am I? I am Vicious. The heart declared proudly. Nonsense, I am Vicious. The finger refuted coldly. Two Viciouses. Zhongxian blinked blankly. What was going on? Even someone as knowledgeable as him was finding it hard to process what was going on. Bullsh*T, I am the real vicious. How can a puny finger like you be vicious? The heart roared furiously. The finger harumphed coldly. Back then, Vicious stood at the very top of the world, devoid of fear for even Kongsha. How could he possibly submit to an insignificant master teacher like the lad over there and listen to his commands? Stop soiling my reputation any further. You'd better sit obediently as I devour you, or else I will kill you along with your master. You want to devour me? Ha, let me see if you have the capability to do so. With a furious roar, the heart leaped forward furiously along with the Book of Heaven's path with unbelievable momentum to strike the finger. Boom! The finger retaliated with a tap, and a loud explosion sounded. Suffering grave injuries from the tap, the heart convulsed intensely as it tumbled furiously backward, returning to Zhongxian's hands. Zhongsha, hurry up and release the book's seal on me. Otherwise, we might all die here. The heart implored. What is going on? Zhongxian asked with a frown. It could be because I was too powerful when I was still alive, so even a droplet of blood or the phalanges of a finger could form an individual entity in itself. During the time when my main body was still alive, these individual entities could still be managed and even combined into one. However, with the death of my main body, the sentience that sprouted in each individual part viewed itself as the real vicious, resulting in the current circumstances. In order to fully recover, it seems like we will have to devour one another, but the side that is being devoured will stand to lose his consciousness once and for all. Vicious hurriedly explained. There's such a matter. Zhongxian widened his eyes in astonishment. To be able to revive oneself from just a droplet of blood. This was way too overpowered. That fellow has devoured innumerable master teachers, and the vitality he has absorbed has made him far stronger than me. Unless you dispel the seal on me, I won't be a match for him at all, Vicious hurriedly explained. Dispel the seal on you. Zhongxian frowned. He could indeed release the seal from the Book of Heaven's path on him with a single thought, but it would be a huge risk to do so. No matter what, the other party was an expert who had stood toe-to-toe against Kongsha at one point in his life. It was only due to the prowess of the Book of Heaven's path that the other party was obeying his orders, and if he were to release the seal, the other party could very well disobey his orders and even turn against him. Feeling a burst of confidence after successfully overpowering the heart in the direct clash earlier, the finger sneered coldly, "Ha, with powers like yours, you still dare to vie with me? Die." Otherworldly demons could grow by devouring humans, and master teachers could be considered an ideal tonic to them. Even though the heart vicious was able to make a substantial recovery using the spiritual energy in the underground chamber, it couldn't be compared with the phalanges vicious, who had recuperated by devouring innumerable master teachers over the years. More importantly, the finger could be considered one of the more flexible and active portion of a body, so it wielded might superior to the heart. Hong Long. The finger gathered its might and charged at the heart once more. Overwhelming killing intent gushed over like a sharp sword, threatening to pierce through all that stood in its path. Feeling the immense power of the finger, the heart panicked and quickly urged Zhongxian, "Hurry up and dispel the seal. There is no need for that. It'll suffice as long as I seal that fellow as well," Zhongxian said. Releasing the seal on Vicious simply wasn't an option. If he were to release the other party, that would be no different from leaving his life in the hands of the other party. And to leave one's life in the hands of an otherworldly demon was sheer foolishness. Since that wasn't an option, he would just have to seal the finger as well. At the very most, it would just get a little noisier as the two viciouses wrestled with one another in the book. Having made up his mind, Zhongxian was just about to call upon the golden page when a thought suddenly flashed across his mind. Since he had the power to release the seal on the heart, was it possible for him to put the finger in as well? If that was the case, he wouldn't have to waste an additional golden page. The golden page was his ultimate trump card, so it was best to save as many of them as he could. Go. Zhongxian immediately put his theory to the test. With a thought, the Book of Heaven's path, in which the heart was sealed, immediately flew straight for the incoming finger. Hula! The finger, which was just on its path to slaughter the heart, suddenly felt an oppressive power shrouding it, which froze the finger on the spot. What is this? The finger exclaimed in shock. It struggled furiously in an attempt to escape, but as if pinned down by a mountain, it found itself unable to move at all. The book before it seemed to harness the laws of the world, forming an unbreakable cage. "Haha, didn't you just mock me a moment ago? Let's see how you are going to escape from this." Seeing the finger getting suppressed by the book as well, just as he had been back then, the heart couldn't help but burst into hearty laughter. The other party had just claimed that he was a fake and that the vicious who had dared to fight against Kongsha couldn't possibly submit to a transcendent mortal 9-dan student. But with this, the other party should understand that it wasn't only him. Even if the real vicious was standing before this, he would have to kneel down as well. This trump card of Zhong Shi's was simply that fearsome. There was nothing higher than the heavens in this world. No matter how much power or authority one held, even if one was unmatched by any other being in the world, it was all futile. No matter how much power one accrued, could one still be stronger than the heavens? And as long as one continued to exist beneath the heavens, one would have no choice but to bow before it. No. Hearing the other party's mocking, the finger was horrified. "Catcher." Amidst the finger's piercing screams, the book abruptly closed, sealing the finger within it. That finger had devoured innumerable master teachers, granting him power considerably greater than the heart. Nevertheless, it was still nothing more than a hatchling before the Book of Heaven's Path. Who? Seeing that it had worked, Zhongxian heaved a sigh of relief. With a slight grab, the Book of Heaven's Path returned to his palm. He flipped it open swiftly and saw the finger and heart sealed alongside one another. Previously, the heart had only taken up half of the page, and with the addition of the finger, the entire page was filled up. This likely meant that this page was already full, and it couldn't contain anything else anymore. "I am the real one, you are the fake." "No, I am the real one, you are the fake." The heart on the upper half and the finger on the lower half glared at one another viciously as they bellowed in fury. Until now, the finger still could hardly believe what had just happened to it. As the phalanges of the great vicious, who had faced Kongsha head-on back then, even if a Saint Realm 9-dan expert was here, it would still have some means up its sleeves to escape safely. Yet, in this instant, it was trapped within this ancient book. It howled angrily and struggled with all its might, but it found itself unable to break free. Where is this place? This book seemed to harness the will of the heavens, a lofty power that gazed coldly on all existences beneath, eradicating all who dared stand in its way. Putting aside him, any existences that lived beneath the heavens, no matter how powerful, had to bow down to it. The heart harumphed. "Don't bother with that futile struggling. Just let me devour you and end it once and for all." "Let you devour me? Dream on. It is your fate to be devoured by me. And that lad as well, I will kill him as soon as I find a way to get out. All of you shall die by my hand. There is no one who has dared offend me, vicious, and ever met a good end." The finger cried furiously. But before it could finish its words, a finger suddenly flicked lightly on it, harnessing a surge of pure zhenqi. Peng! Before it could even react, it was already tumbling furiously within the page. Struck by the pure surge of zhenqi, it found itself unable to catch its breath. It was as if that surge of zhenqi was its nemesis, capable of subduing it easily. "Shut up." Zhongxian frowned. "Even if you still carry the consciousness from your previous self and think that you are vicious, in here, you are nothing more than a simple image. Learn your place and keep your mouth shut. You dare to flick me? Do you know who I am?" The finger was exactly like how the heart had been when it first arrived, indignant and incomparably arrogant. It thought that it was still the great emperor of the otherworldly demons, which even Kongsha himself had feared. Peng! But before it could finish speaking, another flick struck it. There was only one way to make that fellow submit, and it was to pummel him. Sealed in the Book of Heaven's Path, even if the other party was the peerless monarch of the world, the other party's life and death would still be grasped in his hands. Peng peng peng! Under consecutive flicks, the finger in the book nearly lost its life. "You!" Howling furiously, the finger finally realized its current standing and dared not speak arrogantly anymore. Finally, after seeing that he had finally managed to stamp out the other party's arrogance, Zhongxian began his interrogation. Who are you? What is with the blue-horn dragon beast? Why do you have two consciousness within you? Explain yourself well, or else. Vicious, I will make you know what true viciousness is. Whether you are vicious or not, at the moment, you are nothing to me. If you dare cross me again, I will make you regret ever being born in this world. Chapter 887, The Wealth of the Golden Bear Tiger Beast Eye. Knowing that it was helpless before the other party as long as it was trapped within this book, the finger finally abandoned its pride and spoke. I am the phalanges of a finger of vicious, and it is only after several dozen millenniums of sleep that I finally gained my own consciousness. The blue-horn dragon beast was the emperor of the Cloud Mist Ridge, and in order to hasten my awakening, I bound his soul to me and had him work under me. Soon, it went through the entire story. It wasn't too far from what Zhongxian had guessed previously. No one could tell for sure what had happened in the battle between Vicious and Kongsha back then, but one thing for sure was that the phalanges of a finger of his had been left behind somehow. Vicious had already reached the level of being able to revive from just a droplet of blood, so even though his phalanges had suffered severe damage, resulting in a lengthy sleep of several dozen millenniums, it still managed to regain consciousness. Afterwards, by some stroke of luck, it was found by the Emperor of the Cloud Mist Ridge. In order to quickly recover, it used a unique method it possessed to bind the other party's soul to him and made use of it to lord over the saint beasts of the Cloud Mist Ridge. In exchange for replenishing the earth vein spirit essence in the cavern, the saint beasts would capture master teachers to feed it. Naturally, with its incredible means, it was able to raise the cultivation of the golden bear tiger beast easily as well. However, one thing that was not within its calculations was that Zhongxian would possess such a powerful artifact, and it was this that resulted in its current plight. As for the matter regarding Wu Yangzi, around 2,000 years ago, a few otherworldly demons had visited the Cloud Mist Ridge to request their assistance. At that moment, Vicious had fallen into a short moment of hibernation after consuming several master teachers, which placed the blue-horn dragon beast in charge for that period of time. Learning of the motive of those otherworldly demons, it had sent a few saint beasts to assist them in kidnapping Wu Yangzi. The blue-horn dragon beast was only an incomplete soul, but after spending innumerable years with Vicious consciousness, it had learned of quite a number of its secrets. While Vicious was unconscious, it had secretly told the otherworldly demons about the existence of the droplet of blood. Eventually, those otherworldly demons successfully retrieved the heart and brought it back to the underground chamber. It was under their nourishment that the heart eventually regained consciousness. Thus, it could be said that this finger was the reason the heart was able to regain its consciousness. After asking everything that should be asked, Zhongxian still had some matters that he hadn't figured out. But just as he was thinking about them deeply, a voice suddenly sounded by his ear. "Zhongshe, allow me to devour this fellow. I should be able to recover a fair bit of my strength with this." It was from the heart. "You want to devour it?" "That's right. Based on my deduction, it seems that even though Vicious was destroyed in the battle back then, he has left quite a few hands. Most likely, there are quite a few of us out there that possess consciousness as well. Even if I absorb spiritual energy for another 100,000 years, I still won't be able to return to my peak. The only way to do so quickly is to find my other body parts and devour them," the heart said. "As long as I devour a sufficient number of them, even if I can't return to my peak, I wouldn't be too far away from it." "I see." Zhongxian nodded. When he saw the finger claiming that it was Vicious as well, he had already deduced this much. There was a famous, albeit brutal, way to groom an expert within an organization. It was to gather a huge bunch of men and have them face off against one another, and the final one standing would be strongest of them all. Vicious knew that there was a high chance that he could lose his life fighting against Kongsha, so he had used some secret art to preserve his heart, finger, and perhaps a few more body parts so that he could still survive if a mishap occurred. However, in order to regain his former strength, his body parts would have to devour one another, and the final consciousness standing would become the real Vicious. "As long as you pledge loyalty to me, not only will I give you this finger to devour, I can even help you find the other parts of Vicious so that you can regain your strength," Zhongxian said calmly. To him, It mattered not who became the final vicious as long as the other party was loyal to him. The heart had followed him for quite some time, and they had gone through quite a few ordeals together. Thus, it was the closest to him, so the probability to successfully tame it was the highest at the moment. As for the finger, considering that it had brutally slaughtered so many master teachers and devoured their flesh and blood, Zhongxian was reluctant to have it serve as his subordinate even if he could tame it. Pledge loyalty? The heart fell silent. Even though it was powerless after getting trapped in the book, its consciousness was still one of the domineering vicious who had fought head-on against Kongsha. As such, it was difficult for it to lower its pride and pledge loyalty to another. That's right. Placing his hands behind his back, Zhongxian waited patiently for the other party to make his decision. Possessing the library of Heaven's Path, it was only a matter of time before he reached the top of the world. In his view, vicious loyalty could only be considered icing on the cake. With or without it, he would still be able to forge a path ahead. After a moment of silence, the heart finally gave the word. Fine, I agree. The capabilities and means that the young man had displayed thus far could even leave the legendary 9-star master teachers astounded. Perhaps, the other party might really be able to bring it to greater heights, and perhaps, surpass even Kongsha. Agree, and there would be a chance that it could make a full recovery and even reach greater heights. Reject, and it would be trapped in the book forever, never to make a comeback. Which was the correct choice? It didn't take a genius to figure that out. Seeing that he had the other party's agreement, Zhongxian said, "Offer your soul then." The other party's betrayal wasn't a risk he could afford to take, and a couple of words and promises held no weight at all. Only with the other party's soul held hostage in his hands would he be able to put his unconditional trust in the other party. Yes. Without any hesitation, the heart sent a fragment of its soul into Zhongxian's glabella, entering his consciousness. Feeling the soul fragment, Zhongxian nodded in satisfaction. Previously, he was only able to make vicious obey his commands through the prowess of the Book of Heaven's Path. However, after the soul offering, he now possessed absolute control over the other party, similar to a tamed beast. The other party had no choice but to obey his commands unconditionally. Master. Offering one's soul was equivalent to acknowledging the other party as one's master. The heart put aside its pride and lowered its posture. Zhongxian waved his hands. Call me young master instead. Yes, young master, the heart responded. With your current strength, will you be able to devour him? Do you need my help? Young master, my strength is currently beneath his, so it will be extremely difficult for me to succeed. However, if you can lend me Kongsha's writing to use, I am confident that I should be able to overpower him, the heart said. You want to borrow Kongsha's writing? Zhongxian frowned. It hadn't been easy for him to obtain Kongsha's personal handwriting, and his heart had nearly bled dry when he realized that Vicious had devoured a third of it the previous time that he helped his clone act as Yang Xian. To think that he would still dare think of devouring more of it. Young master, otherworldly demons grow by consuming humans, and that finger has devoured many master teachers over the years. As such, its strength and spirit are far stronger than mine. Without Kongsha's writing, I fear that I won't be an opponent for it, and I might even end up being the one devoured instead, the heart said. All right then. Here is the remaining 2/3 of Kongsha's writing. Tell me, how much do you need to successfully devour that finger? Zhongxian asked with a deep frown. That. I am not too sure either, the heart said hesitantly. After a moment of contemplation, Zhongxian sighed deeply and said, Fine, I will help you weaken that finger first before you make a move. That should save a bit of Kongsha's writing. He might not be a match for the finger outside, but within the Book of Heaven's Path, his Heaven's Path Zhenqi was a lethal weapon. Having come to a decision, Zhongxian began infusing his Zhenqi into the book. Under the assault of the Zhenqi, the finger began rolling around the place as a shrill scream echoed from its consciousness. It took a while before the voice began to die down. Watching this sight, the heart couldn't help but convulse slightly. Nevertheless, knowing that this was a chance for it to strike, it rushed forward and sent a surge of killing intent toward the finger, attempting to subdue it. Sometime later, the movements of the finger finally came to a complete halt. Abandoning its previous arrogant attitude, It lay humbly in the book. "Young master." After an inestimable length of time, a voice sounded from the consciousness in the finger. The heart had successfully devoured the vicious within the finger and assimilated it into a part of it. "Young master, the clash with that fellow's will while devouring it has depleted my spirit. I need to rest for a moment. I have already wiped away the consciousness in the soul of the blue-horn dragon beast, so you should be able to absorb it to nourish your soul," Vicious said. Following which, he felt a surge of soul energy leaving the book. Sensing the incredible purity of the soul, Zhongxian's eyes lit up. Even though the Emperor of the Cloud Mist Ridge was only an incomplete soul, it wielded power comparable to a Saint Realm 5 Dan. If he could absorb the energy in the soul and assimilate it into his own, his soul cultivation could rise significantly. However, this wasn't the time to do so yet. The battle against the Cloud Mist Ridge had just ended, and there were many other things that he still had to attend to. Taking Kong Shi's scroll back from Vicious, Zhongxian took a look at it and saw yet another 1,000 words had disappeared from it, meaning only a third of the original writing remained. His eyelids began twitching furiously, but a moment later, he sighed deeply and stowed it into his storage ring. Any other master teacher who obtained Kong Shi's writing would worship it as if it was their ancestor. He was probably the only one who trampled on it in such a manner. After returning to the cavern, Zhongxian instructed the myriad anthive queen to devour the folded space. With the blue-horn emperor beast, the culprit behind the deaths of countless master teachers, destroyed, the Cloud Mist Ridge would no longer pose a threat anymore. The deceased master teachers who had died under its tyranny should also be able to rest in peace now. As the folded space wasn't too large, and the myriad anthive queen's cultivation was also significantly higher than before, it only took an hour this time for it to devour it completely. After which, he returned the myriad anthive queen to the nest before heading out. When he finally returned to the area where the earth vein spirit essence was stored, he saw the golden bear tiger beast lying flat like a pancake on the ground, deader than ever. Upon noticing him, the golden origin cauldron immediately rushed over to greet him. "Master, I have killed this fellow for you, and he had quite a few good things with him." With a fawning smile, it took out a storage ring and passed it over to Zhongxian. "Storage ring?" Zhongxian frowned for a moment before he suddenly recalled something. While spirit beasts were unable to access storage rings, saint beasts could. As the oldest king of the Cloud Mist Ridge, the golden bear tiger beast had at least lived for 1,000 years now. Over the years, it had killed many experts and collected their possessions as spoils of war, so it should have considerable wealth in its ring. Zhongxian hadn't really thought of that earlier, but it seemed like his loyal Ding Ding had already helped him settle this matter. The seal on a storage ring would be erased upon the death of its master, so Zhongxian was able to easily claim possession of it using a droplet of blood. Immersing his consciousness into the ring, he took a peek at what was within. The area inside was far larger than his current storage ring, spanning a diameter of several hundred meters. There were all kinds of treasures stacked up into towering piles all around, and just the number of middle-tier spirit stones in itself numbered in the tens of millions. There were also around several hundred high-tier spirit stones placed together as well. Besides that, there were also valuable medicinal herbs, high-grade pills, and rare ores of all sorts scattered all around the place in unimaginable quantities. As for weapons, there were several hundreds of them, of which, around 40 were at spirit pinnacle, and 3 of them were even at half-sane. Incredible! Zhongxian was rendered speechless by the grandeur before him. Ever since his transcension to this world, he had worked diligently to earn money, not willing to spare even a single gold coin in his path. He had thought that with his hard work, he had already accumulated quite a large fortune for himself, but compared to this king of the Cloud Mist Ridge, what he had was truly nothing in comparison. But thinking about it, the Cloud Mist Ridge had kidnapped Elder Wu Yangzi back then, so it must have taken quite a bit of treasure from the latter too. Just that in itself was sufficient to make it filthy rich. It had been 2,000 years, so the golden bear tiger beast might not have even been born back then, but as the spokesperson of the blue-horn dragon beast, it should have inherited most of the accumulated wealth of the Cloud Mist Ridge. Chapter 888, Sinned. That was only a small portion of the storage ring. What had particularly caught Zhongxian's eye was the incredible pile of Saint Beast inner cores by the side. Saint Beasts might enjoy a longer lifespan than humans, but death ultimately came to all. Accumulated over several millenniums, the number of Saint Beast inner cores in the storage ring had reached an unbelievable number. There were several hundred of them. Every single one of these inner cores was incredibly valuable and could be sold at an astronomical price. After looking through all of the treasures within the storage ring, Zhongxian was completely dumbstruck. Compared to the golden bear tiger beast, he felt like a beggar flaunting a coin in his bowl before a tycoon delighted. Zhongxian turned to the golden origin cauldron and said, "You have done well getting this for me. How do you wish to be rewarded?" With so many treasures in the storage ring, it was very likely that the golden bear tiger beast had hidden it somewhere discreet so that no one else could get to it. If the golden origin cauldron had not gotten it out of the golden bear tiger beast, he might have just missed it. Despite Ding Ding's occasional silly behavior, it seemed like it was still reliable in crucial moments like this. It will suffice as long as Master doesn't forget to raise my strength," the golden origin cauldron said. "Don't worry." Zhongxian nodded. Currently, the golden origin cauldron was only a Saint low-tier artifact. As long as Zhongxian raised his smithing capability further, he would be able to help raise its tier. It was also due to this promise that the golden origin cauldron had willingly submitted to Zhongxian back then. Otherwise, as the proud guardian saint artifact of the academy, it couldn't possibly have acknowledged anyone as its master so easily. Threat might force another to submit, but it would only eventually breed acrimony and result in betrayal. It took a combination of both the carrot and the stick in order to instill true loyalty. After leaving the cavern with the golden origin cauldron, Zhongxian was welcomed by the scarlet blaze lion, tiger-head beast, and the other kings. "How is it?" Zhongxian asked. "Master, all of the spirit beasts that were fighting have been pulled back, and they are currently waiting for you at the foot of the mountain," the scarlet blaze beast hurriedly said. After everything they had gone through, they no longer dared harbor any second thoughts regarding their loyalty to the young man before them. "Let's head over." Zhongxian nodded as he began making his way to the foot of the mountain. They soon saw thousands of spirit beasts of the Cloud Mist Ridge gathered orderly at the foot of the mountain. As Zhongxian appeared before their eyes, a commotion broke out amid them. Each and every one of them widened their eyes in astonishment. They were in the midst of fighting against the Master Teacher Academy when they were suddenly brought here. They had no idea what exactly had happened, and why the kings would choose to negotiate with the humans. Stepping forward, Zhongxian began speaking without any hesitation. The growth of a beast is reliant not only on absorbing the essence of the world and spiritual energy, but to emulate the behavior of humans and cultivate. Around the time that Zhongxian arrived at the foot of the Cloud Mist Ridge, School Head Mo also arrived at Leiyuan Peak. It had been almost 4 hours since the duo went to the Cloud Mist Ridge to negotiate, and Zhao Bingshu had already gathered all of the students along with Mu She and the other school heads in preparation to fight a bitter war. When they saw School Head Mo return alone, without the principal by his side, their complexion turned incredibly awful. Zhao Bingshu immediately rushed forward, grabbed School Head Mo, and asked him in agitation, "Where is the principal? How is he?" "Mo, how can you allow the principal to face such danger alone? If something happens to him, how do you intend to face the teachers and students of the Master Teacher Academy?" Wei Ranxue glared at School Head Mo so coldly that it felt that the latter would freeze on the spot. When Zhao Bingshu returned and informed them that their principal had gone to the Cloud Mist Ridge to negotiate in order to stop the war and reduce their casualties, all of them nearly had died of shock. What kind of place was the Cloud Mist Ridge? It was a land dominated by spirit beasts and saint beasts, and nearly all cultivators who dared to tread those lands were never heard from again. It wasn't easy for them to find a new principal to lead their academy to greater heights, and if they were to lose their principal over this matter, they would be the sinners of history, and no amount of time would wash away their sin. A bitter smile filled with helplessness emerged on School Head Mo's face. "Even if I really had tried to stop the principal, do you think that I would have been able to stop him?" "Enough. This isn't the time to be talking about this. How is senior uncle doing, and what is the current situation on the Cloud Mist Ridge?" Mu She interjected sharply. I heard that the 10 indomitable kings of the Cloud Mist Ridge are all vicious beings who are filled with hostility for humans. You probably met with a lot of trouble negotiating with them, right? The others also quickly turned to School Head Mo, waiting intently for him to respond. Trouble? School Head Mo had no idea where he should start from. There was indeed a lot of trouble, but they weren't the ones who faced trouble. After spending some time organizing his thoughts, School Head Mo began speaking. The 10 indomitable kings demanded that the negotiation be conducted in a certain cavern, and we headed over and began discussing how we should resolve the conflict. In the midst of that, our principal headed out for a moment, and when he finally returned, out of the 10 indomitable kings, 9 had become his tamed beasts. And the 3,000 aerial spirit beasts, too, had acknowledged him as their master. In other words, other than the spirit beasts who had battled with the students earlier, all of the half-saint, nascent saint, and saint realm beasts on the Cloud Mist Ridge have all become our principal's tamed beasts. Before School Head Mo could finish his words, he noticed a bizarre silence hanging in the air. Perplexed, he raised his head to take a look, only to see all of the school heads and Moosh staring at him with slackened jaws and bulging eyes, as if the limits of their rationality had been challenged. Seeing their expressions, School Head Mo wasn't surprised in the least. There was no one in the world who wouldn't react in this way after hearing such news. To head to a negotiation and end up taming all of the enemy's forces. Who could have imagined that? Negotiation? More like a seizure of property. Did it really have to be so exaggerated? That is everything that happened. Looking at the looks of disbelief of those around him, School Head Mo could only shrug helplessly. To be honest, if he hadn't been there to witness it himself, even he would never have believed such a story. Ever since the establishment of the Hongyuan Master Teacher Academy, the beasts of the Cloud Mist Ridge had been a huge threat. Many of the previous principals had attempted to do something about it, but their efforts had been futile. Yet, the principal of the current generation, despite being yet to be inaugurated, had already completely overturned the other party's ness. On top of that, not only did he snap the threat from its very roots, he had even tamed all of the saint beasts, which would bolster the forces of the Master Teacher Academy significantly. With this additional force, perhaps the Hongyuan Master Teacher Academy could be pushed up a single ranking among the 4 great academies of Qingyuan Empire. With his head still spinning from having heard such an unbelievable epic, Zhao Bingshu asked, "Where is the principal now? He had me return to organize the students while he deals with some miscellaneous affairs." "He is probably still at the Cloud Mist Ridge at the moment," School Head Mo replied. "Zhongding Chun, have your students take the wounded to your physician school for treatment. Xu Changqing, get the students of your martial arts school to remain on guard in case a battle occurs. As for the other school heads, follow me to the Cloud Mist Ridge." Knowing that his senior uncle was still in the Cloud Mist Ridge, Musha swiftly made arrangements. Naturally, the responsibility for treating the wounded students would fall on the physician school. And even though School Head Mo had said that the problem was resolved, the situation wasn't entirely clear yet, so the Master Teacher Academy still had to keep its guard up in case an accident occurred. Of the 10 schools, the martial arts school boasted the greatest fighting power, so they were left to stand on guard. Yes. Zhongding Chun and Xu Changqing nodded before rushing off to make preparations. "Let's go." Musha nodded before rushing over to the Cloud Mist Ridge with the other school heads. "Look, what is that?" Before they even reached their destination, they suddenly noticed innumerable spirit beasts gathered at the foot of the mountain with their bodies lying on the floor. Their eyes were gleaming in gratitude and respect, a vast contrast from the savagery and viciousness when they were battling before. At the very forefront of the army of spirit beasts was a young man standing on the back of one of the Saint Realm Kings. His nonchalant voice echoed resoundingly, drawing in an overwhelming amount of zhenqi into the surroundings that it created an illusion of lotus flowers falling from the sky. Listening to the words of that young man, the spirit beasts seemed to fall into a trance. This was the ability that only 5-star master teachers possessed, Spirit Gathering Diction. This is a lecture for the spirit beasts. The arriving master teachers were stunned. They had seen master teachers conducting lectures for their peers, students, and fellow cultivators, But this was the very first time they had seen anyone lecture spirit beasts. And more importantly, every single one of the countless spirit beasts in the area was listening intently to each word that was spoken, and some of them were even using their snouts or paws to make notes on the ground. In the midst of their shock, Zhongxian's voice suddenly sounded. "All right, I will end the lecture here. You are dismissed." Roar. Roar. But despite Zhongxian's words, the spirit beasts didn't scatter. Instead, they raised their heads and roared in unison, the sheer volume of which shook even the clouds in the sky. After which, they rose from the ground, and a droplet of blood floated out of each of their glabelli and toward Zhongxian. The heck? Watching a wave of fresh blood rushing toward him, threatening to drown him within it, Zhongxian's knee weakened, and he nearly collapsed on the spot. "I was just conducting a casual lecture for you all. No one is asking you to acknowledge me as your master. Besides, even if you all want to acknowledge me as your master, there is no need for you to do it together, right?" A droplet of blood from nearly 100,000 spirit beasts. That is probably enough to fill even a swimming pool. Zhongxian fell into a frenzy, but Mu Shi and the others nearly lost their minds. It seemed like their principal didn't intend to stop with just taming the 10 indomitable kings. His aim was all of the spirit beasts in the Cloud Mist Ridge. 100,000 spirit beasts. With such a force, their principal could overrun even a Tier 1 empire like Hongyuan Empire with a single word. To make so many spirit beasts acknowledge him as their master and resolve such a huge threat for Hongyuan Empire. There is no way to calculate his contribution at all. "I must report this to the Beast Hall," School Head Mo muttered with quivering lips. To make all of the spirit beasts of the Cloud Mist Ridge acknowledge him as their master with a single lecture, there was no one who had achieved such a feat before him, and it was likely that no one else would after him. The contribution from doing so was immeasurable. On top of that, the other party had also tamed the 10 indomitable kings and many nascent saint and half-saint beasts as well. If Zhongxian was only an ordinary 7-star beast tamer with no contribution to the Beast Hall before, at this very moment, he could be considered a hero of the Beast Hall. He couldn't help but remember the saying, "Silent in rest, devastating in action." This sure was applicable to Zhongxian at that moment. In the midst of his shock, School Head Mo didn't forget to heave a sigh of relief too. "It's fortunate that I had the foresight to apply for the 7-star Beast Tamer emblem for him earlier on so that he need not take the examination. Otherwise, I can hardly imagine what the state of the Beast Tamer School would be in now." After seeing the tragic states that the Blacksmith School, Physician School, and Apothecary School were in after a visit from their principal, School Head Mo deeply feared that the other party would come to take their Beast Tamer examination as well, so he took the initiative to apply for it in advance. From the looks of it, it was probably the wisest decision he had ever made in his life. Otherwise, if all of the spirit beasts and saint beasts in the Beast Tamer School were to take him as their master as well, there would definitely be a huge riot among the student. "Let's go over." Suppressing his shock, Mu Shi raised his trembling hands and gestured for everyone to head over to Zhongxian's side. But moving over, they found themselves faced with a tearful young man. The crowd hurriedly clasped their fists and greeted him. Paying respect to Principal Zhong, as if meeting his savior, Zhongxian hurriedly rushed over and pleaded with reddened eyes. "You are here. Have these spirit beasts gone insane? Why are they so insistent on taking me as their master? School Head Mo, you are the head of the Beast Tamer School. Do you have any idea how one can halt the acknowledgement ceremony?" He had really only come here to conduct a lecture. He had no intentions of becoming their master. None at all. Halt the acknowledgement ceremony? I fear that there is no way to do so. School Head Mo shook his head. It was extremely difficult to tame even one of these spirit beasts, and their principal had managed to tame all of them. Yet, he still had such an expression on his face. "Principal Zhong, do you know that you are drawing a lot of hostility from beast tamers around the world?" On the other hand, upon hearing that there was no way to undo the acknowledgement ceremony, a look of helplessness and despair surfaced on Zhongxian. A mouthful of blood spurted from his mouth, and he couldn't help but exclaim in agony, "I have sinned." Chapter 889, Wei Ruyan's awakening Zhongxian had truly dug his own grave this time around. Taming a few saint beasts could give him a few more cards to play in times of crisis, but so many saint beasts. There was truly no need for that. But these fellows were insistent on taking him as their master, and none were willing to back down at all. If he were to turn them down, it could possibly result in an upheaval. It would be foolish to undo all of the effort that had gone into calming down the cloud mist ridge. In other words, he had no choice but to accept all of the spirit beasts. Indignant. Very indignant. What in the world is this? Putting everything aside, just taking in the souls of so many spirit beasts would put a huge burden on him. If not for Zhongxian's unbelievably powerful soul, he would have long lost his sense of self and gone insane. But even so, he still suffered severe vertigo from having to take in so many souls, and his eyes turned bloodshot. Tears streamed down his face endlessly, and he found himself choked by agitation. I only came with the sole intention of conducting a lecture for you. I really had no intention to tame any of you at all. Please, spare me. After around 12 hours of effort, Zhongxian finally managed to take in all of the offered souls from the spirit beasts. By the end of it, he was feeling so fatigued that he could faint any minute. But still, he knew that this wasn't the time to rest yet. It had been a day since Wei Ruyan's soul was placed into the body saint tree to be nurtured, and she should be waking up soon. He had to take a look at her condition. Otherwise, if the body saint tree were to succumb to Wei Ruyan's unique constitution due to extended exposure to it, his efforts could end in futility once again. The innate soul constitution was simply too powerful. Even Zhongxian didn't dare to underestimate its prowess. Thus, leaving the cloud mist ridge, Zhongxian rushed all the way to the royal palace. It was already late at night, but with all of the commotion in the cloud mist ridge, Yu Shenqing was in no mood to rest at all. Thus, upon hearing that Zhongxian had arrived, he rushed out to welcome him. Has anything peculiar happened to the body saint tree? Zhongxian asked. Nothing that I can think of. Yu Shenqing was confused by Zhongxian's abrupt question. Let's head over there to take a look. Without explaining himself, Zhongxian hurried over to the residence where the body saint tree was located under Yu Shenqing's lead. Soon, in the residence, he finally saw a lush body saint tree that didn't show any signs of being poisoned, and he heaved a long sigh of relief. Zhongsha, I will be taking my leave now. If you have anything that you require my help on, feel free to let my men know. Knowing that Zhongxian was going to settle a private matter, Yu Shenqing clasped his fist and bade farewell. After Yu Shenqing's departure, Zhongxian double-checked that there was no one in the vicinity of the residence before drawing out his soul to take a look at the body saint tree. Under the nourishment of the body saint tree, Wei Ruyan's soul had already grown significantly stronger. Nodding in satisfaction, Zhongxian drew her soul out of the tree before gently placing it back into her body. After which, he used his soul energy to facilitate the fusion process between her body and soul. It was no easy feat to fuse a separated soul and body together, but it was fortunate that Zhongxian cultivated the Heaven's Path soul art. This granted his soul a unique property that allowed him to possess the body of another without suffering any significant rejection. Nevertheless, it still took around an hour before he managed to fuse Wei Ruyan's body and soul together perfectly. After doing all of that, Zhongxian tapped his finger on the other party's glabella and said, "Wake up, Wang." A crisp buzz sounded, and Wei Ruyan began to open her eyes slowly. It must be said that despite her many years of sickness, Wei Ruyan was still an incredible beauty on par with Wang Ying. What particularly caught Zhongxian's attention were her eyes. Perhaps it was because she had never witnessed the evils in the world, her eyes were extremely bright and clear, reflecting the innocence of an infant. "You are." Upon seeing the young man before her, a perplexed look surfaced on Wei Ruyan's face. She had been asleep all along, so this was the very first time she had met the benefactor who had saved her life. "I am Zhongxian, a master teacher. I have managed to successfully cure the affliction you are suffering from, so you need not live a life filled with pain and suffering anymore." Zhongxian nodded. "My affliction has been cured." Wei Ruyan could hardly believe what she was hearing. For as long as she could remember, she had always been plagued by an affliction. Her father had taken her to many physicians and master teachers, and she had tried all kinds of treatments in the world, but nothing seemed to work. In the depths of her heart, she had already given up long ago. When she fainted the previous time, she had thought that she would never come to again. Yet, she found herself opening her eyes to this world once more, and a man even told her that she was cured of her affliction. This was. She dared not believe what she was hearing to be true. Seeing through her thoughts, Zhongxian smiled gently and said, "Try standing up." Stand up. Confused, Wei Ruyan pressed her palms softly against the ground to prop herself up, but to her astonishment, her body flew 7 meters into the air instead, causing her to nearly crash head-on into a nearby tree. She screamed in fright as she fell back down, waiting in apprehension for the onset of pain the moment she crashed back onto the ground. However, her flailing arms, in a moment of panic, ended up creating a strong wind beneath her instead, which gently placed her back to the ground. This. Wei Ruyan widened her eyes in shock, dumbstruck by the changes in her body. Due to her affliction, despite her father being a Saint Realm expert, she had never cultivated for a single day in her life. But, to be able to fly into the air with a light push and land softly just by flailing her arms, it was clear that she possessed strength beyond that an ordinary mortal. What was happening? Seeing the look of confusion on the other party's face, Zhongxian explained with a smile, "You have consumed many precious medicinal herbs over the years, and even though they didn't do your affliction any good, their medicinal properties are starting to work their magic now that your body has recovered. At the moment, you already possess strength comparable to a chrysalis realm pinnacle cultivator." In order to save his daughter, Wei Changfeng had fed her all kinds of precious medicinal herbs, and on top of that, Wei Ruyan had also consumed the nearly grade 8 grand intermittence pill just some time ago. As a result, despite having never cultivated for a single day in her life, her body still harnessed immense power comparable to a chrysalis realm expert. If one were to take into consideration her double unique constitutions as well, she was definitely on par with an average half-saint. However, having never cultivated any cultivation technique or battle technique in her life, she didn't know how to utilize her newfound strength. Chrysalis Realm Pinnacle? Wei Ruyan was stunned. Suffering from such a severe affliction from a very young age, the greatest wish she had was to be granted an ordinary life. She had never dared hope that she would be able to cultivate and harness such great strength. But now, everything suddenly came to her at once. "Zhongshe, thank you for saving my life." Knowing that it was the young man before her who had granted her this second life, Wei Ruyan kneeled to the floor without any hesitation. "Please rise." Zhongxian stepped forward to help her up. "Yes." Standing up, Wei Ruyan began scanning her surroundings, and noticing the lack of a familiar figure, she asked, "Zhongshe, where is my father? Does he know of my recovery?" She had seen the extent her father had gone for her, so in her moment of recovery, the very first person she wanted to share the news with was him. If her father found out that she had recovered and could even cultivate, he would probably immediately leap in joy. Just by thinking about how her father would react to the news, Wei Ruyan's eyes couldn't help but curl into crescents, and her lips inched up into a sweet smile. For many years, the both of them had relied on one another for support, creating an exceptional connection between them. Wei Changfeng. Seeing the expectant gleam in the other party's eyes, Zhongxian had no idea how he should break the news. Noticing that something was amiss with Zhongshe's expression, an ominous premonition surfaced in Wei Ruyan's heart, and she asked anxiously, "What about my father?" "He has departed from this world." Shaking his head, Zhongxian sighed. As cruel as it was, this was the truth. Wei Ruyan would have to face it one day. Departed. Wei Ruyan's face froze before slowly paling. Her body staggered weakly, and she shook her head in disbelief. For as long as she could remember, her father had always been by her side. He told her bedtime stories and accompanied her during her treatment. No matter what her request was, he would always give in to her so as to make her happy. She had thought that she would leave this world ahead of him, but who would have thought that this would be the very first thing she would hear after her awakening? "Ruyan, you must live on. No matter the price, I will definitely save you. Be good and take your medicine, it will help you recover. You are my beloved daughter. I am willing to give you everything in the world, including my life." Those words still echoed clearly in her ears, but the person who had said them had already disappeared. Time and time again, he had begged physicians to treat her. Time and time again, he had ventured into dangerous lands to seek rare herbs for her affliction. There were innumerable memories of her traveling on her father's back, going around to seek others for help. But now that she had finally recovered, her father was no longer around to see it. Father! Wei Ruyan's eyes reddened as her vision was blurred by the tears streaming down her cheeks. Amid sobs, she turned to Zhongxian and asked hoarsely, "How did my father die?" "He died while trying to save you." Without hiding anything, Zhongxian told her everything that had happened. This included the affair with the 10-leafed flower, Yu Shu's scheme, and Wei Changfeng venturing into the depths of the cloud mist ridge alone. Hearing that her father had trudged on, despite having sustained heavy injuries, in order to obtain the cloud mist flower to save her, Wei Ruyan's clenched her fists tightly, and her skinny figure began to tremble uncontrollably. "Father," she muttered weakly. A father's love was greater than a mountain, and no words or actions could possibly repay those sentiments. She had intended to use her entire life to repay the favor, but it was impossible now. Taking a deep breath, Wei Ruyan seemed to have come to a decision, and her knees fell to the ground. "Zhongshe, please accept me as your student." Since her father had lost his life in exchange for hers, she would have to live well so that her father's soul would be consoled as he watched her from above. Zhongxian nodded. "All right, I will accept you. From today on, you will be my student." From the moment he promised Wei Changfeng to take care of his daughter, he had already decided to take Wei Ruyan in as his student. Student Wei Ruyan pays respect to Zhong Laroche. Kneeling on the ground, Wei Ruyan kowtowed grandly several times in order to complete the acknowledgement ceremony. Knowing that this was the tradition, Zhongxian accepted her kowtows. After acknowledging Zhongxian, Wei Ruyan stood up and asked through clenched teeth, "Teacher, may I know where the culprit behind my father's death, Yu Shu, is?" Years of fighting against her affliction had made her mind exceptionally strong despite her young age. Her mental fortitude was at least on par with Lu Chong, if not surpassing him. Since Yu Shu was the culprit behind her father's death, she was determined to make him pay the price, regardless of whether he was a master teacher and the vice head of the physician school or not. Understanding Wei Ruyan's emotions, Zhongxian nodded. "I knew that you would surely want to exact vengeance for your father, so I have already detained him. Follow me." After saying these words, Zhongxian informed one of the guards to bid Yu Shenqing farewell in his stead. After which, he summoned the Byzantium Alios beast, and the duo got on it and headed back for his manor. Upon reaching his manor, Zhongxian had Sun Qiong bring the imprisoned Yu Shu over. At this moment, Yu Shu had his cultivation sealed, and he no longer bore any resemblance to the majestic vice school head he used to be. In just half a month, he had grown so thin that he was barely even skin and bones, and he looked like he had aged a decade. "This is the culprit behind your father's death. I will leave him for you to deal with." Knowing that Wei Ruyan would want to vent her anger and frustration, Zhongxian waved his hands before heading out, closing the door behind him. If she wanted to exact vengeance for her father, she should do it with her own hands. He, Zhongxian, would never accept a weak-minded person as his disciple. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.